What time do you call this? I call it stream time. Getting carried, just coming in with the raid. Welcome in. Hello. You join us mid-hype train, just as we're about to start the stream. Hope everyone's having a good Tuesday. Welcome on in. Nixcraft, thank you for the 200 bits. John419 with the 100. Giant Scorpion with a 13. Lucky 13. Unlucky for some. Lancelot, thank you for the 20 months. Paisley Rose with the 2 months. And Bumblebee Emily with a brand new Prime sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Emily, welcome to the Pixels. Your name is very apropos today because I have been working on bee farms for tomorrow's episode. So we've got a honeycomb farm, we've got a honey farm now. That's all set up. But I need some glass. I need glass for glass bottles for the honey farms. So we're going to be doing a Choppin Tuesday. We're going to be gathering some materials from villagers. We're going to be trading a lot of glass from the librarians. And it's going to be a good time. I hope you will enjoy. How was Sunday Clash of the Creators? It was great. Our team won. I was with Cub, Ellie Beatmaker, and Dave, the guy 1604. We had a fantastic time. It was chaos. The VOD will now be up on Pixel VODs as of later tonight because YouTube took a while to process that one, and I didn't want to upload it and have everyone be like, why is this in 360p? Because people typically do. Who would I recommend for Bedrock tutorials just like mine? If you want the survival perspective, look up Prowl 8413 or Blue Jay Games, because they have like a collaborative world where they both do tutorials from the same Bedrock Edition world. And Silent Whisperer is really good for like isolated individual tutorials, but I think as far as like a survival series, he plays on servers sometimes and things. I could be wrong about Silent. I haven't watched Silent for a while. But yeah, he's also a great guy, does very, very good tutorials, so check him out. JC plays as well for farms. I guess I don't know that much about the Bedrock community, but I've heard the name, so probably worth looking for. Yeah, yes, Prowl. Prowl is a good one to start with, I think. So yes, here we are back on the Twitches, living the life, and my hair is a little bit of a mess today. I did just get back from the supermarket, so had to go and get some food and whatnot. But here we go. Let's dive into the survival guide world. Immediate spoilers for tomorrow's episode, but we'll be heading over to the Savanna village pretty soon. So, Silent is still on Bedrock servers. Yeah, does he play on Truly Bedrock? Is he a Truly Bedrock guy? I'm pretty sure. That piglin lad. Anyway, we now have the makings of an apiary down here, which is bumbling away, as you might expect, and is producing a lot of honeycomb and a reasonable amount of honey so far. This is literally like right after I ended the episode, so we'll see how it all goes. Let's catch up on some alerts quickly before we run through the nether. Cap Dan, thank you so much for the 3 months. Poiso with the 9 months. The Twitch baby, thank you so much. Enjoy your brand new Mike sub badge. Sweet Sunny Dream, likewise. You want a creeper baby instead of a Twitch baby, please. Just a single block explosion. I'd love to see that. About to get a foot of snow in Michigan. Hope all is good here in the UK. UK's alright. UK ain't doing too bad. It's very mild this winter. There's been a bit of snow up north, but I live down south, so I haven't really had a great deal. Crizzle Twitch, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Brand new Prime sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. And Rafe with the 4 months. Thank you for the 4-month resub. Let's grab a bunch of iron. We'll take some iron from the iron farm over to the village, because we can, of course, trade all of that to the various peoples, the persons, the villagers, the inhabitants. Let's throw this in here. Hope you all enjoyed the Bastion raid today. We had a lot of fun doing that. A lot of lava poured on a lot of piglins, which is always great. And yes, a joyous time was had by all except for the piglins who all died in lava. Just got to drop off a few bits and pieces here to clear my inventory out, because villager trading does take up the inventory space somewhat. The other problem is I don't have, like, shulker boxes to bring all of the produce from these villager trading sessions back. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do about that. But, you know, we'll cross that bridge. We'll cross that bridge. We've got a bit of room in the ender chest, at least, and we could potentially ride out there instead of having to take the nether, but the nether is just so convenient. I can just chest storage it all over at the village anyway, right? I can leave the scaffolding here as well. Like, we can put it all in storage. We can do it in multiple trips if we need to. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. But I'm making it complicated. We'll put the Unbreaking helmet on today. Somebody pointed out that I had one of these, and I was like, it's only Unbreaking. It's not the most enchanted helmet in the world. We can also repair my pickaxes while I'm over there as well, because the Silk Touch pickaxe needs fixing up. Nick Cat, thank you for the 7 months. We're on level 2 of the hype train so far, folks. Thanks so much for keeping the hype train alive. As you can tell, I have been killing Hoglands occasionally with a flame bow now as well. It'd be fun if there was something like shulker boxes made from leather. It would kind of ruin the point of shulker boxes if you could make them out of easily acquirable overworld materials, but I see your point. Let's see if that dropped a blaze rod. I am, like, half keeping in mind that sooner or later we will need to start acquiring materials for going to the end. So I should probably kill a couple of blazes while they're around here. Alright, not going to hit that one. Never mind, eh? Lava technique in today's video was really good. I'm so clumsy with lava, but I'll try it for sure. Honestly, if you get clumsy with lava, just drink a fire resist potion and stand in it and let the piglins try and run at you. It's hilarious. Like, fire resist potions are your friend. That's why I brought 2 of them with me to the Bastion, even though we didn't need them. But honestly, like, piglins being flammable is one of the most useful traits. It's very cheesy, but it works. And honestly, because the piglin brutes don't drop anything worthwhile, like, you don't need to worry about killing them with lava. Like, normally you wouldn't bother lava killing stuff because you want the drops, you want the XP. With brutes, it's just not worth it. There's no trade-off. Either that or use boats, but, you know. Again, you don't really need to kill the guy that way. Am I going to make a blaze farm? I'm going to make all kinds of farms eventually. Did we ever refresh the, Did we ever, like, rebuild the plan command? Because I feel like that's the useful one. Alright, we're on 16 chunks. Good, okay. Yeah, there we go. There we go. We have the plan command. For anybody who is curious about what farms we're going to build in the series, the answer is all of them, eventually. Alright, where are my blacksmith friends? You're a mason. You're a blacksmith. Thank you for the emeralds. This track is really ominous. This is very much not, like, the vibe of this stream. Who else? We got you, Toolsmith. Wonderful. Thank you for all of the emeralds. Now let's start trading those with the librarians. I have last been here a few days ago, but I guess I didn't stay here to let the trades refresh, so once the sun goes down, we'll be able to get some of these folks to refresh their trades. Just keep some blocks in your inventory and don't make too big of a mistake. Yeah, but I feel like fire resistance is, 1, tactically advantageous if you're using lava to kill stuff, and 2, I make mistakes. But yeah, I know that fire protection is very, very useful, and people carry totems of undying, which give you fire protection for a little bit, so there's other options, but honestly, like, it's worth the 1 inventory space for basically fire insurance. What am I doing? Trading with villagers. Today is going to be the day when I get all my resource gathering done. This is typically what we do on Tuesday streams. So normally I'll chop wood if I need to get wood. I'll prepare materials for forthcoming builds. In today's stream, we are just going to be trading emeralds for iron, because I have so much iron from the iron farm now. And we're going to be buying glass from librarians, because I need glass to make glass bottles for the bee farm that I just made. I'm also going to be trading up with this librarian because he can clearly reach the next level of his trade pretty soon. He sells respiration, which I now have on my helmet, so I don't need to, well, not this helmet, but the other helmet. So I don't need to worry as much about that, but hopefully he'll end up trading glass in a minute. And now we can sleep to get rid of the rain, so we're good. What project am I working on now? Tomorrow's episode is about bee farms. We finally put together a honeycomb farm and a honey farm, because those are both nice and easy. We can build them at spawn, they'll last forever. And I needed a bit more copper wax to finish off the roof of that fisherman's hut, so I ended up clearing up the remainder of that, basically. And now we have honey blocks that we can work with as well. Alright, they need a bit of time to visit their workstations and refresh. Let's buy some more golden carrots from you as well. I got a bunch from the Bastion, but it's always worth having more. Have I watched Encanto? I have not, because I don't have Disney Plus. But also, my friend Bruno is very mad about Disney, although I think he's watched it as well. But yeah, Disney apparently has a vendetta against Bruno. People called Bruno, or Brunos in general. Always forget the totem, don't like it the way it takes up the screen. There are resource packs that make it invisible in your offhand, which is worth doing. I'm pretty sure, like, the Vanilla Tweaks pack for that is the most useful one. Alright, we have some string that I left over here. We got sticks and stuff in here as well. I'm going to create a couple of chests with the spruce wood that we farmed here. And we're just going to stockpile glass, like, over here by the nether portal, basically. We'll try and get a couple of chests worth so that we don't have to store it necessarily at the house. But it'll be easy pickings when we come back. Yeah, apparently both Encanto and Luca have issues with people named Bruno. It's very funny. Do I plan on getting full netherite before the dragon fight? I plan on not really caring about that, to be honest. Like, if I get full netherite, then cool, but otherwise, like, it's not imperative, it's not necessary. And I don't want to give people the impression that you have to have full netherite to fight the dragon. You don't. I like the idea of having decent gear long-term, but that's really the only reason I'm that concerned about netherite right now. Okay, you're the one who doesn't trade glass. You're the one who's new. So let's see what we got. I have so many bookshelves now. After that Woodland Mansion raid, I have like 17 bookshelves. But that's okay, because we can trade books to this guy, and he sells Sweeping Edge now, which is actually a really useful enchant to have. I need to buy a cheap axe from one of these guys, because my axe has Silk Touch, which means I will just get more bookshelves back if I break these down. Had full protection 4 off diamond armor and got flung off the island. That's where knockback resistance comes in a little handy. Although with the dragon, I'm not sure it really works all that well. But yeah, that is a concern. Which one of you... Is it this guy? No, it's the weaponsmith, isn't it? He's going to trade me an axe. Which is just Unbreaking 2, so that actually works out pretty well. Expensive axe, but I only cured this guy once, so... Too much of a pain. Is it too much of a pain having the villagers organically run around? It took me forever to get my trades. I can see why a lot of people just opt for trading halls, because this is, like, it's tough to keep hold of them, especially if they, like, disconnect and swap workstations and things, but I never found it that much of a problem, to be honest, and I like the idea of there actually feeling like there's a community here. Yes, we got another glass trader, perfect. And he sells Sweeping Edge 2 for more expensive than Sweeping Edge 3. What even is this game, Minecraft? Alright, where are we at with iron trades? I think that's going to be them locked up for the day. We could potentially buy lanterns from this guy as well. I do love a lantern. Projectile protection 3. That's kind of not worth it, but hey, we have another glass guy. So this one's locked. This one's got more trades, and I think that's good. Do you prefer free range villagers too? I will end up making a trading hall eventually, just because it's kind of sensible and it's something else we can do in the series. Like, I'm in favor of doing things just for the sake of showing that you can do them with this series, but yeah, sooner or later we will probably end up making a trading hall. I just don't want to do it like at my base, because having everything at your base means you never end up traveling somewhere else, which in this update of all updates, you know, it feels like this is the update that you should be traveling in. So yeah, eventually I'll end up making a trading hall in whatever location I choose for a more permanent build project. So you're all good. Oh, you do have more trades. Fantastic. And you are all locked up for the day. Perfect. Trade the rest of the books to you as well, because I have so many bookshelves. What are we trading glass for? I'm going to make glass bottles so that I can fill up my honey farm for the bee-related farms that I made in tomorrow's episode. It seems weird talking about stuff that I've made tomorrow, but you know what I mean. Time is a flat circle. Oh dear Violet, thank you for the 6 months. Justin Dive, thanks so much for... Or Andy V, I'm not sure. Thank you so much for the 6 months. And T-Bro Fire with 100 bits earlier. Thank you very much. Trading hall at world height for Star Trader advancement. Entirely possible. Again, we could put these villages up a mountain somewhere if we want to, you know? Not these villages maybe, but some of the others. Is there anything else that is worth buying that I haven't really bought in large quantities? Just while we're sitting on all these emeralds, you know? Bells, maybe? Just for annoying ourselves with later. Alright, we'll go and stash this. Basically keep like a bucket chain kind of thing going to the chests over here. Because we have 3 iron traders and 3 glass traders, so we can basically maximize the amount of glass we're getting. We could also buy things like redstone, ender pearls from the clerics, like stuff like that. CO2 with court, it says. Okay, court it is. Thank you for the 100 bits. Am I also going to do bingo again today? Depends how much we get done here, but this seems like the kind of task that will take maybe like hour and a half, depending on where we end up. And at that point, I'm like, yeah, maybe we can play some bingo. I don't think I'm ever going to beat my PB, because my PB is just good now. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. What's up, Eno? Welcome in. Villages are gods to have to give them offerings to put them up on Mount Olympus. Yeah, that could that could be an interesting way of looking at it. I think it works for these guys even because they have that kind of like laurel wreath kind of crown. Well, they have like 2 leaves sellotaped to the sides of their heads, but you know it it could work out as like a more of like a Roman laurel wreath kind of vibe. Clerics are honestly such good traders. Like you buy redstone dust from them, you can buy glowstone, you can buy ender pearls. Experience. There's so much stuff you can get from them. You're chopping alongside me? Hey, nice. Enjoy your chopping. This is the fisherman. Where's the Fletcher got to? Here's another feather in his cap. Always good sources of emeralds, especially when you have a spider farm. The swamp villagers also have cool leafy outfits. They have 1 big leaf on their heads, which is delightful. What if zombies show up? They don't, because I sleep every night. Zombie Jose shows up and subscribes for 15 months, but that's not a problem. And the iron golems farm themselves. Look at this. I didn't even do that. The golem just wandered into the pen with the campfire and is going to give me some more iron to trade. What up, Steph? What episode is my podcast up to? It's like 178, I think, right now. You can find out for yourself by going to thespawnchunks.com. What's all the glass for? Bottles. Glass bottles for a honey farm. Which I might actually go and check on because I'm not certain if it's going to keep running over there while I'm away. Bee farming is one of those things that I don't know what it relies on in terms of, like, game ticks and stuff. So I'm going to sleep for the night, so it's not just nighttime when I get back to my base. All these villagers are going to sleep, so I may as well too. This is my bed. Mine. Don't you dare. I'm warning you. There we go, finally. It's a good thing villagers can't kick you out of bed, huh? Alright, let's go back through the nether. Let's briefly check on the bee farm. He seems to think it's his bed. Well, he is mistaken. This entire world is mine, technically. What's up, Truistic? Thank you very much for the congrats. It was a very, very fun event. Imagine trying to sleep in a village. I know, right? Getting kicked out constantly. Can never get a ghast with your bow. Any advice on that? Honestly, it's just experience. It's just practice. It's different on Bedrock and Java as well, because the Bedrock kind of projectile velocity and decay of the arrows arc is slightly different. So I don't really know how to describe what I'm doing. It's all like felt out at this point. Sir D. Hamilton with a 2-year resub. Thank you so much. Can't stay. I'm not caught up on Season 2 yet. Wanted to say hi to Pix and chat. Wish you all a happy day and glass for days. Well, thank you. I'll keep my head down so that you don't see what we're doing tomorrow, because I am about to craft a bunch of glass bottles for it. So let's make a bunch of them, and we'll stuff these into the dispensers. Alright, can't really avoid it anymore. It's a bee farm. There we go. So I need to see where we're at in terms of bottle availability. So it seems like this has been producing while we've been away, because they wouldn't have made 9 honey bottles apiece in the meantime. I mean, we're safe in terms of overall numbers. Like, that will probably keep us going for the remainder of the stream, but worth keeping in mind. These ones have a little bit more in, I think. Yeah, so we'll be fine here. We'll put these in there. These in here. And then there's like a couple left in here that need it. That's basically it. Yeah, alright. So those will be fine. It takes items from the dispensers randomly, so those will be fine. It's not going to make that much in the next couple of hours, but we definitely need to collect enough glass that we have a surplus of glass bottles. Maud with the 18 months. Thank you so much. Is that you in a trash can, Maud? That's hilarious. Thank you so much for 18 months. Hope you're well. Why, yes, it is. I'm glad you noticed me in this trash can. We'll see the bee farm tomorrow's episode. Yep, that's the plan. That is the plan. And obviously the bee farm designs haven't really changed since 1.15, so a few people will be familiar with these farm designs, but it's got some good information about comparators in there, and a bit of an explanation of why you can't just stick an observer into a beehive to farm honey from it, which you can obviously do with honeycomb, but honey bottles are a slightly different thing. There's some good basic redstone in there. We're starting to, like, drip feed people information about comparators, so you don't get overwhelmed and try and keep it all in your head at once. Because I find that, like, learning about that stuff, it often helps to have a lot of practical examples. That's my whole philosophy with teaching redstone, because that's how I learned. And I think it's a little bit more accessible to start with something like, oh, hey, this is going to give you, like, a ton of honey and honeycomb that we can use for various projects, than it is to be like, well, here are the 6 functions of a comparator, you know? Like, it makes a lot more sense to learn by doing, I think. Creeper farm soon? Probably not until we get Elytra. I don't want to start massive, like, mob farms and stuff until we get Elytra, because if we're making them in the sky to start with, then it's going to be, you know, ideal if we have Elytra, really. Which, yeah, I know that it's less efficient to do it in the sky, especially with the world height being increased, but I'm not going to dig a perimeter for my first mob farm. Anyway, to prevent a zombie siege, don't let it get to midnight. And outside of that, have a low enough village population. Don't put beds around, because I think villagers have to have a certain number of beds for a zombie siege to happen, which is why you don't get zombie sieges at trading halls. yeah, there's a variety of things one can do. You can slab the entire area around the village so the zombies don't spawn. That's another option. Not the best option, but it is an option. Would you prefer to make the creeper farm in the sky or below the ground? Well, below the ground in theory, if I could also have a 128 block spawn-proof perimeter, but, you know, you can't have everything. I mean, in theory, the best thing to do is to build as close to ground level as possible and AFK in the sky, but then you introduce issues with what if there is some viable spawning blocks within the sphere of the player's spawning radius. There's so many complicated concepts to explain there that honestly it is a little simpler to just build it somewhere in the sky and explain like a variety of approaches are possible. But, you know, we'll see what everybody else thinks about that. Because inevitably I get somebody telling me what I've done is horribly inefficient, and I'm like, sure, I guess. Works for me, though.
Well, that's just right.
It sure is! Satsuma, thank you so much for the 19 months. It's one more than Maud, just saying. Farms are allowed to be inefficient if they produce what you need. Not if you're making YouTube videos about them. Only efficiency! If your farm is not optimized, it is not allowed! Ruthless efficiency. And a fanatical devotion to the Pope. Netherite beacon again? Maybe, at some point. I'm probably going to end up making like a tier 1 netherite beacon and then just using netherite blocks for other things. Commissar, thank you so much for the 6 months. The months, they just fly by, they sure do. And the comfy chair, yes. Nobody expects the Psycraft Inquisition. When am I going to the end? Probably episode 50. It seems like a nice round number to do it. I might do episode 49 just to really mess with people. They're like, no, you could have done it on episode 50. I'm like, why, guys? This is also arbitrary. Do it on, like, episode 43. That's tomorrow. That's not going to work. We've already got bees. Why did you go to the end on such an unsatisfying numbered episode? For engagement, friends. For engagement. I did it all for the algorithm. I could buy quartz as well. That'd be a good trade. Don't really know what I'm going to do with quartz yet, but we'll find something.
Well, that's just right.
We're at level 35 now. Not bad. Mickle, thank you so much for the 5 months. Thanks for the awesome videos. You're welcome. Thank you for the awesome sub message. What, in my opinion, is the best Minecraft farm? Honestly, just a general mob farm is probably the best because it gets you, like, bones and gunpowder, two things that are incredibly important for late game. Because bone meal produces so much stuff for other farms, and gunpowder is necessary for TNT, elytra rockets. There's so many cool things you can do with various mob drops. Obviously, rotten flesh is a bit of a pain. You can trade it to clerics, I guess, for emeralds. And string, there's a variety of things we can do with string. Wool is going to be really important once the warden gets here. So that's best in terms of, like, what it produces. Best in terms of XP. Right now, Zombie Pigman Gold Farm. Or an Ender, I guess, but the Zombie Pigman Farm is better for XP. There's a few other things. Like, obviously an Iron Farm is so useful that it's hard to discount, but variety of other things. Trying to boil it down to just one farm is like trying to say, like, what the best note in a piece of music is, right? Like, I really like the C sharp that they play here. Like, you can do that, but it kind of removes it from all context at that stage. Minecraft, played together correctly, is a symphony. Which is a very pretentious way of explaining it. I'm a pretentious guy. When Pigman Farm? I mean, I haven't even talked about the nether roof yet, so we're going to get to that eventually, but probably not for a while. Like, I reckon episode numbers closer to the hundreds. Maybe before 100, but we'll see. Are we being philosophical today? I mean, when are we not? When are we not? May as well swap this. I don't need it, but... You're in my bed again. Don't turn away from me when I'm talking to you. Get out of my bed. That's right. A D flat is where it's at. I'm trying to think what key signature you'd have to be in for it to be a D flat. That's like that's some pretty deep keys right there. Hacky, thanks so much for the 100 bits. What do I think about using spectator mode to fast travel through long nether tunnels? I wouldn't do it myself, but I have no problem with somebody else doing it if that's just what saves them time. Like, a lot of people do stuff for, like, relatively trivial time saves in this game that I'm like, I don't really see the point. Like, overall, yes, it adds up. You get a bit more free time back out of that, or you get to what you want to do faster, but I think it's kind of more fun developing, like, survival-based solutions to stuff like that. Like piston bolts, like ice boat roads. Like, I honestly want to know if it's faster to have, like, a blue ice boat road through the nether than it is to travel by spectator mode. Because spectator mode is fast when you scroll the speed up, but, like, I cannot imagine... Like, I don't know if it's going faster than an ice boat road. Wish Bedrock would let you on the nether roof. Yeah, it's one of those weird things that, like, I don't think it's ever going to be resolved between the two versions. Or if it is, it's going to be a concession on Bedrock's part. Because they clearly don't want it to be a thing. But I think for the sake of just... You know, it probably never being removed from Java unless we get, like, a way to generate our own dimensions that have our own custom parameters in survival without just data packing the heck out of the game, then if that didn't happen, I don't expect we would get anything like the nether roof. No, you were never meant to build on the nether roof, but people did, and now it's relied upon so much by the Java community that the developers risk a backlash if they remove access to it. Like, they can patch all sorts of different ways of getting through the nether roof, but at this point, the ways people use are so fundamental to the way other mechanics work in the game. Like, you know, the ender pearl onto a slab and just hop out or whatever, right? Like, there's so many different things you can do that it just becomes impossible to do that without removing some of those mechanics from the game. Or you just limit the build height in the nether, but I don't know how easy it is to do that, considering how difficult it was to increase the world height in the overworld for this update. Like, how much of that stuff is so hard-coded that it becomes detrimental to the game to remove it, I don't know. Is this music a little loud? I might turn it down another notch. Pretzel is so quiet right now, though, so it's kind of weird. What are my thoughts regarding frogs eating magma cubes? I like that idea. It's a really fun mechanic to introduce frog lights. I'm actually a big fan. Find it incredibly boring to walk through bland nether tunnels. I don't have enough rockets. Yeah, fair enough. Like, I'm not going to complain if that's your way of playing the game. Like, it's entirely up to you. What do you sell? Arrows of swiftness. Oh, yeah. What do I think of a mob or golem type that can eat lava source blocks as a tedious and sustainable, way to remove lava? Oh gosh, excuse me. Making terrible noises today. I mean, I guess it feels more viable to me now that we have a way to renewably produce lava ourselves, because I feel like the previous argument against stuff like that would be, well, like, just put the lava in buckets because it's not a renewable resource. Anyone see the announcement of the Bedrock beta overhaul? Yeah, I'm really, really happy for Bedrock players, because I know there's some people was it Prowl and Foxy and a couple of other people said that, like, you know, they can't install the Bedrock beta because, like, they either have kids who play, and if you're a parent and you install the beta on your parent account, it transfers it to your kids' accounts as well. And also, like, if you're playing on a Bedrock server, for example, then you have to delete the beta and reinstall Bedrock Edition every time you want to keep playing on a server that's on the recent versions. So it's just a nightmare. But I'm glad they forked that into a different app. It seems like a sensible thing to do. Like, it's good to see Bedrock Edition evolving in ways like that, you know? Now we just need to fix to mob farms? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. I'm rooting for Bedrock players every step of the way, though. Like, genuinely am. Someone hit a transformer near your house and now your owner is... I assume that's power. Your owner is out? What? iOS players can join the beta. Yeah, that's another good thing, is it being available on other platforms now. It's a really interesting way around the idea that, like, Apple doesn't allow beta versions of apps on their platform, or it's not allowed to be distributed the same way. So that's sensible, I think. And I'm glad that they've reached an agreement in that sense. Do I watch any Minecraft speedruns recently? Nah, not really. It's not really my scene. Like, I like watching speedruns of other games, but in Minecraft there's so much other cool stuff that I'm like, you're missing so much of the game. And, like, it just ends up getting very repetitive to me, I think. When it comes to watching other speedruns, I tend to watch, like, a variety of stuff instead of just one game over and over. And it's always interesting to hear how the scene is evolving, but I'm also, like, not that fixated on it. Well, we got enough ender pearls to go to the end now. I might put those in my ender chest, actually. Oh, I can hear a cat outside. I think the white cat is back. He was here earlier, just, like, hanging outside our front door when I went out to the shops. Did I hear about the new world record recently? Was there one? That's cool. Good for them. Will I be doing speedruns just for fun? No. The stuff I do for speedrun style content is like Minecraft Bingo, where the objective changes every time, but just like hurling myself against a wall when it comes to speedruns is not my idea of a good time. Am I interested in creating an Azuma saves for myself? No, too much work, and I don't really want to get other people to edit my videos, so I am fine with my stuff just being uploaded in full and people picking out the bits that they want to hear. When's the next episode? Tomorrow. As usual. Monday through Friday is my upload schedule. That's not really changing, as far as I can tell. Do I plan on building a city just like Season 1? Good question. I don't know what I plan on building yet. I have a couple of vague ideas for, like, interesting builds. I would like to do more modern building, a bit more contemporary building. I'd like to do a couple of projects here and there, but I'm not certain what style some of them are going to take yet. So as far as, like, a city goes, it's not going to be a medieval town if I do one, or at least not for a while. I don't want to just go straight to, like, well, we've got a bunch of wood and cobblestone, so let's make a medieval town. Like, I want to do something a little bit more off the beaten path, you know? There are some very good medieval builders out there, some people who've got some fantastic projects, but I think you can do such a variety of stuff in this game that going to the same category over and over again just seems like, you know, seems a little too repetitive to me. Rulo, thank you so much for the 5 months, and Truistic with the 500 bits. Today you were blown up by 2 creepers with your cat beside you. Your cat beside you in real life or in the game? Because that's unfortunate for that cat if it was in-game. How long do I think I can maintain a 5-day upload schedule for? For as long as the projects stay small. Like, if we can do lots of projects like, you know, small redstone farms and stuff like that, and then videos where we go exploring, talk about structures, talk about various other bits and pieces, like, I can sustain that for a while. And as long as people are okay with me splitting larger projects into multiple episodes, then of course we can do stuff like that for a while. Like, I'm not going to do one video that's just like, and now we have a Guardian farm. I'm probably going to do, like, 2 or maybe even 3 episodes worth of work on that. But it just comes down to the kind of thing that I can produce and edit in a day, or whether or not I'm ahead of schedule in terms of recording, which right now I'm not. Right now I'm recording basically the day before the video goes live, which I like because then I'm not getting too far ahead of myself on streams, and on streams I can do stuff that's like relevant to the videos I'm putting out. But I'm also thinking, well, I don't really give myself any leeway in terms of like extra time I can put in. But I still want to be able to have like Fridays off, which is like my day off, and that's kind of non-negotiable for me. Like I don't want to get into a situation where I am working on Minecraft stuff 7 days a week, because that's how you get burnt out. At least that's how I get burnt out. Slimehouse Gaming, thank you for the 8 months. But honestly, just like a practical use of my time, like being able to gather resources like this on live streams and do a little bit of building in creative so that I have a plan going in for episodes where we're doing some building in survival, you know? And building in like a creative test world is what I mean by that, rather than like I'm not building in this world in creative at all. I don't even have like cheats enabled. Like I can't switch to creative mode. Like it's the cheats are off by default. And I don't intend to ever turn them on.
Well, that's just Prime.
Still no, thank you so much for the brand new Prime sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. And Pachompi, thank you for 2 months of Prime. Do I have fire spread on? I do, yes. So fire tick is on. I could burn down this entire village. And the reason for that really is that previously I would turn it off because I wanted to use fire for aesthetic things.
Well, that's just Prime.
Like I wanted to have like flaming torches or something like that. I wanted to have a fireplace in a house that was also made of wood. Whereas now you can have campfires for stuff like that. So not only are they aesthetically pleasing flames that do not set things on fire, but they also have smoke particles, which is quite cool. So I figure, yeah, we can probably play with fire spread on now. Prove it, burn the village. I mean, there's lava over here. I can just go and put something wooden next to that if you really need the evidence, but... Have I ever been blown up by a creeper during my series? A couple of times, I expect. Not this series, but the previous survival guide, I'm pretty sure I got blown up by a creeper quite dramatically. There it is. Auto-sorted storage this week? Probably not, because I'll need to figure out where I want auto-sorted storage. And I feel like we're only going to get to that point when I'm, like, at a proper base location that isn't just spawn. I don't really have room for it in my basement, so I'd need to build a separate storage building, really. When will I make a video on advancements? Already made one of those about 20 episodes ago. When am I going to make a video completing certain advancements? Well, it really depends. Like, there are a couple of things that will be, you know, advancements will turn up in individual episodes. Like, we'll probably do an episode about farming with the skeleton skulls, respawn anchors, stuff like that, right? But then when it comes to these occasional ones, like, you have to be very deliberate about bringing a ghast back to the overworld and then killing it, unless you're building some pretty wacky stuff in the nether and the ghast happens to go on through. So I think some of that stuff is going to be in an episode where, like, today we're going to complete this advancement specifically. What am I getting the glass for? Tomorrow's episode is all about bee farms. So we have a honeycomb farm and a honey farm that requires lots of glass bottles. And I did not have a great deal of sand to smelt, and I honestly prefer to get glass by trading from librarians, because sand is a finite resource that we'll need for TNT and concrete powder. So smelting it seems unnecessary when we have another source of glass, which is these folks. Although only the ones that actually sell glass. And right now they're not refreshing their trades because, I don't know, they're mad at me or something. We have another toolsmith over here. So we're stockpiling a few emeralds as well. We also have a ton of levels. Am I going to build a mega base this series? Define mega base for me quickly.
Well, that's just prime.
Because the universal definition for that seems to be really big base. In which case I'm like, yeah, sure. Mega base is a word people have made up because it looks good in YouTube titles. Like, it doesn't actually mean anything. Like several millions block base. Millions knives. No, I guess we'll probably put a lot of materials into something, but like, even the mountain range I built in Survival Guide Season 1 was only 200,000 blocks of stone. Like, that was about as mega as I've seen other people build things. Just throw the word mega in front of anything. I know, right? Look at my mega crop farm. Mega is a unit prefix in metric systems of units denoting a factor of 1 million, 10 to the power of 6. I'm going to build 1 million bases. Like, if you broke it all down, I'm pretty sure most of the stuff in Hermitcraft doesn't even count as a mega base. Like, it wouldn't have 1 million blocks in it. Because 1 million blocks is a lot of blocks. Like, I think I mined 1 million blocks of netherrack total when I was mining ancient debris for a beacon. Although, to be fair, I was blowing up most of those with TNT, but I don't know how much of that counted towards my mining totals because I started the fire, Billy Joel. When am I going to make a giga wheat farm? I know, right? Just turn an entire biome into wheat. He snaps his fingers and turns an entire biome into wheat. Why not make the first giga base? Technically, Hermitcraft has already done that by combining all of the bases at Botum, and they just called it a gigabase, and people were like, yeah, that's what that is. Go rogue, build everything micro? We could. Genuinely could. Like, once we have Elytra and we can do more, like, easy crawling bases and stuff. We can do that with trapdoors now, but it's pretty funny making micro bases. It almost feels like in defiance of Minecraft somehow. It's like the world is literally 60 million blocks in diameter. Let's build a base that you can crawl into in like a 1x1 hole. Let's not even stand up. So a mega base has 1 million approx. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a really big thing. It's just a bigger than average thing. Like, there is no codified definition of what a mega base is. People just use the word because it sounds good. If you throw your pick on a cactus, I donate $500. How about we just ban you? That seems like a better deal to me. I'll keep the... You can keep your $500, just don't come to my chat. That sounds like a better deal to me. I have a mega base and I will not tell you where it is. What's up, Toz? How you doing? Your mega base is in the kitchen. AX Sinner, thank you for the 16 months. Jerry Thomas with the 5 months as well. Thank you very much. Micro bases are basically like, I'm tired, let me have fun, right? Speaking of fun, has anyone been playing the new Pokemon game? I started playing it last night, and it's quite good. I'm enjoying it. Do I have a Discord server? No, I do not. I have no intention of starting one either. Too much effort. Like, I don't want to be one of those guys who are like, oh, I'm lazy, but, like, there's too many distractions. I need to spend my time as wisely as possible to make the kind of YouTube content I make, and that does not include babysitting a Discord at this point. Especially not a public Discord. Like, I had a great time with a patron Discord for a while, but my Patreon is closed now, and, yeah, I don't really feel like starting a community Discord again. Who's my starter Pokemon? I went with Rowlet. I usually pick grass starters. I went with Bulbasaur when I played Pokemon Blue, and Pokemon Shield I picked Grookey. Even though Score Bunny was better overall, but I traded one, so it was fine. Everything from Sword and Shield was locked behind the DLCs. My problem with Sword and Shield was that you were told the story instead of actually playing the story. Like, the only bit of it that actually felt like you were playing a game with a story was, like, the post-game after you, spoiler alert, fight Eternatus. You pick Rowlet too? Yeah, I don't know much about, like, the evolutions of stuff, because I only played Pokemon Blue, and then I didn't play any Pokemon games until Sword and Shield, because I didn't have a DS or anything, or a Game Boy Advance, so I never really got to play any of the middle generations. So I know, what's it called? Typhlosion is supposed to be alright. I know that... I don't know what Rowlet evolves into. I know Oshawott becomes Samurott, and that's supposed to be okay as well, but, like, I was like, cool, a grass bird, and the owl is quite cute. I'm like, he'll be my friend. Have I ever played a Pokemon Nuzlocke? I have played 2 Pokemon games in my entire life, so no. I have not. I mean, you could do that with Red and Blue and stuff, obviously, but, like, no, I've never done that. Are you playing Platinum right now? Which generation is Platinum? Is that, like, Gen 3? I don't really know all that much about Pokemon overall. Like, I've seen a lot of people play various ones, but it just kind of all flies out of my head after that. Oh, it's 4th gen, okay. Because they just remade Diamond and Pearl for the Switch, right? That was Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Is that what it is? Yeah. See, I didn't get those because I could have got them for the Switch, but I didn't want to play like another Pokemon game, and I feel like the formula of those games was starting to like wear thin for me after just having played another one. There's some cool stuff in it, so I'm probably wrong, but I like the fact that this game changes some of the fundamental things about the way the game works with Legends Arceus, or however you pronounce it. Again, like, not having been in the Pokemon fandom for however long, I have no idea how you pronounce half of the names. Does Pokemon run well on the Switch? This one does. The graphics aren't all that intensive. Like, people were complaining about the graphics a lot and saying, like, this looks like a Wii game and everything, but it's like, it's a Wii game with some pretty deep gameplay as far as, like, all of the battling stuff, the fact that battles basically happen in real time and you can run around and stuff. Like, that's kind of interesting. The thing that makes it for me is the fact that, A, you are researching the Pokédex. Like, you know how in a regular Pokemon game, you get given a Pokédex and it's completely blank, but then you look at a Pokemon once and it's like, here is all the information you could ever want about that Pokemon, including its habitat and the moves it has and, like, what height it is and all of that kind of stuff. In Legends Arceus, you have to actually research them yourself. So you've got to catch multiple Pokemon and compare them, and you've got to see them use different moves and stuff to fill out the entry in the Pokédex, and that's, like, the stuff that effectively you go back to the Pokemon professor for this game, and he pays you for that information. And it's like, wait, I have a job in a Pokemon game? It's not just about being a 14-year-old who just defeats the entire world in a battle. Like, it's interesting, that stuff. Like, it seems to me like a more, like, I don't want to say realistic because it's a Pokemon game, but, like, it feels like a more natural idea of somebody's place in the world. Like, it feels like you have way more context for a lot of stuff than you do in the average Pokemon game, where it's just like, I don't know, just go fight the gyms or whatever. Isn't that what people do? Like, it's really interesting. And the idea that some of the information about these Pokemon in what you consider, like, modern Pokemon era could have come from the fact that you fell through a rift in space-time and did all of the research for people in the future. Like, that's kind of cool as well. Like, the time travel aspect of it is quite interesting. I'm curious if it actually goes anywhere. Like, I would love to see them take the system of this and put it in future games. Like, give you more reason to go around catching these specific Pokemon and everything. But I don't know if they will. Like, I expect this is one of those games that's going to be, like, a break in the formula that absolutely everybody loves, and then they're like, well, we've done that one game that feels like a departure for the series. Let's go back to the old formula that people will enjoy. And be like, what? Hello? Am I trading for glass? Yes, I am. That's the idea. I'm trading iron from the iron farm and receiving glass from librarians. Have I ever watched Doctor Who? I've seen some of the older series, like they were on TV when I was growing up, and then I watched from Christopher Eccleston through about halfway through Matt Smith of the new stuff, and then I didn't really care for it after that. Who's the god Pokemon now? Is Mew still relevant? As far as I can tell, Arceus is basically God, like, literally. Like, the game starts with God giving you a phone, which is honestly, like, the best introduction to a Pokemon game there's ever been. Like, previously the introduction was given by Professor Oak or whoever. This time it's literally God says to you, go and find Pokemon. Yeah, it's funny. It's a good way to start a video game. How do you get the seed of a world without cheats? I mean, typing /seed in the chat isn't really a cheat. You can do it in a world that doesn't have cheats enabled. Like, I don't have cheats enabled in this world. I can still type /seed. It works that way. So Morgan Freeman voices Arceus. I really wish the games had voice acting, but they don't. It's all just like JRPG dialogue reading kind of stuff. God gives you a phone, go and find my children, basically. Do I know Boz? I know of him. Not like in person, but I know him through Twitch. Do you build up to battle them, or can you catch them? You can do both. That's the cool thing. Like, there are some Pokemon that have an aggressive disposition and you can only catch them after you've battled them. There are some that you can, like, sneak up on and throw a Pokeball at the back of their head. And, like, that's the preferred way of catching them. Like, if you try and fight them, they will run away. games like Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's very clearly them caving to fans' wishes for, like, a Breath of the Wild style game, even to the point where, like, yeah, the entire world is meant to be this kind of open world. It's actually separated into different zones, all of which are pretty large. But they even have that moment where you leave the village for the first time, and there's that, like, pan around the scenery, like when Link runs up to the edge of the cliff on Breath of the Wild. Except on Pokemon Legends, it's much less impressive, because the amount of effort that's been put into the landscape doesn't necessarily match with Breath of the Wild, but I don't know how long it took them to develop this game. Breath of the Wild was in development for however long, and has a very different game system in it than the Pokemon game does, so I don't think it's necessarily fair to compare the two, even though they invite that comparison by basically ripping off Breath of the Wild in terms of design. Will I stream Pokemon someday? The problem with me streaming Pokemon is that the only thing I could use to capture from my Switch is the thing that I use to capture my webcam. So if I decided to plug my Switch into that, bring the whole thing upstairs from the living room, then I could do that, but then I wouldn't be able to stream with a webcam, or I'd have to get, like, a different camera set up for it. And then I could do that, but then I'd get the entire stream, I'd get people asking me, where's your webcam? So, like, it's different. Did all the team have the same randomized blocks in Clash of the Creators? Yes, they did. It was the same data pack for every world, basically. So everybody else was breaking blue orchids and getting diamond blocks as well. We were all, like, talking about it after the match. So I'm pretty certain that the way everybody reacted, they were finding the same stuff that we were finding. Streams aren't the same without webcams, and I feel like that would be the point of this game, is to, like, everybody else is playing the Pokemon game on Twitch as well, and so, like, my reactions to it might be the only thing that was really interesting about it. Do I have Pokemon cards? No, I haven't really got into collecting Pokemon cards. I had a couple maybe, like, when I was younger, back when, like, Red and Blue was new, but I never really got into that stuff. It's just a way to spend your money, and I've never really had a great deal of money to spend on stuff like that. Is it possible to enchant shields in Minecraft? Yes, if you use books. Unbreaking and mending will go on anything that has durability. So since shields have durability, you can enchant shields. You can't just do it in an enchanting table, though, because, like, there's only one enchantment you could get from an enchantment table that would apply to a shield, which is Unbreaking. Apparently there's this anime-style clone of Breath of the Wild. Are you talking about Genshin Impact? Because I've heard about that game, but I feel like it's a little bit different from Breath of the Wild itself. Jazam, thanks so much for the Prime sub. Do I have a Wither Rose tutorial, or could I recommend one? For gathering Wither Roses, or for using them? Because I think the most popular Wither Rose farm is probably the one by Razeworks.
Well, that's just prime.
Honestly, just capturing a Wither in one of those Bedrock gateways and setting up an Enderman farm nearby is the way to do it, but making that consistent, you rely on certain mechanics so that the farm doesn't self-destruct at some point. I did one a while ago. It wasn't the best, but it worked. You know, it was functional. Vinka, thank you for 16 months. Always enjoy coming from work and watching the daily episode of Survival Guide. Keep up the good work. Thank you, I will. Just saw the open world and fantasy setting in the genre and immediately associated with Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard not to at a certain point. It's like a survival game that doesn't look like Minecraft. I mean, look like Minecraft is a bit of a misnomer, but, like, you know, anything with a pickaxe and a sword now is like, oh, it's Minecraft. Like, I played Stardew Valley, people saw a hotbar with a pickaxe and a sword in it, and they were like, oh, so this is Minecraft then? This is like 2D Minecraft? I'm like, no. Not really. Like, the conventions of the genre are one thing, but it's also like... Go back to medieval times when everybody was running around with a sword and be like, is this Minecraft? Fundamentally different things. Alright, so I've left the villagers alone for long enough that they've actually refreshed their trades now, so we should be able to get into a nice routine here. Stardew has marriage in it, it's clearly ripping off Skyrim, I know, right? Game of Thrones has guys with swords in it, it's clearly Minecraft. If it has a gun, it's Fortnite. Yeah, if there's a pickaxe, it's Minecraft. If it has cars and driving in it, it's GTA. There are only 3 games, and they are the best-selling games in the world. If it's a puzzle game, it's just Tetris. I don't make the rules. Alright, you've all still got locked trades. It's weird because they used to refresh their trades basically every time they worked at workstations. And then it was like a couple of times per day. And then I think it's gone back to a couple of times per day. Like they won't refresh until it's like midday now. And I don't know, it's weird. If there's a frying pan, it's PUBG. There we go. All racing games are Mario Kart. Final Fantasy is all 3 of those games. If it's got fishing in, then it's, you know, Sega Bass Fishing, basically. Thought a frying pan made it Left 4 Dead. Sorry, PUBG sold more. Again, there will be people who go back and say that things, like, literally traveled in time to rip off popular games like PUBG. But will entirely forgive things that actually ripped off PUBG, like Fortnite Battle Royale. Have I played Doom? I have not. Never played the originals, never played the later games either. I've seen a couple of them played, and I don't know. They seem fun if you're into that sort of thing, but I've never really been a big fan of, like, shooters. Earthbound, PUBG. There's a straight line between those two things. Like, every arena shooter was Quake for a while. PUBG is in reality an Earthbound-inspired RPG about friends. Yeah, you know how in PUBG you get a cold sometimes? Shooting arrows in Minecraft makes it a shooter game. Now, what makes it a shooter game is when people do those, like, wacky resource pack, data pack mini-games on servers like Hypixel. And it becomes like a zombie survival game with actual guns. And you're like, what? How is this a thing? Is it annoying not having shulker boxes yet? Honestly, not really. I've kind of got used to life without them. It'll be really nice when we get them again. It'll be like, oh, how did I ever survive without this? But honestly, like, I played so much early game Minecraft between doing this and effectively starting from scratch every time I do a run on Minecraft Bingo that I have not really used a shulker box for a while. Even in Clash of the Creators, we couldn't rely on them because shulker boxes broke. Which I think was a problem with the, or maybe even like an intentional decision on Plagiatus's part, but I think it's more fun having access to stuff like shulker boxes, like the way you do with the Fazguy Seth Bling pack. But that's just me. I don't know. I kind of liked that. Heard Minecraft was so popular they made trees a real thing because of it. Yeah. Anybody who punches a tree, it's just a tribute to Minecraft. Is it possible you have to get a shulker box in Bingo? No, the items are limited to stuff you can get in the overworld. The Nether and the End Dimension are disabled. Or the Nether is, and I presume by extension the End is as well. Can everyone in Java get access to Empire? Do you mean the Empire's SMP world download? Because that's coming out soon, I believe. Like, I think Fwip has plans to release it this week, but don't quote me on that in case he delays it for some reason. Didn't they add geodes to the real world because of Minecraft, right? We could go on like this all day. I think we'll need to stop at some point. Can you put an ender chest on a donkey? No, you can't. It's only regular chests, unfortunately. Whip said it was going to be released this week. Yeah, and I hope he gets around to it. You mean in the SMP itself? No, it's a an invite-only server full of, like, pretty well-known content creators, I guess. I don't know exactly what, like, the criteria, if you could call it that, would be. Honestly, it was a server put together out of, like, people that Fwip knows, and he knew me from Decidedly Vanilla and various other places. Can you fence the villagers in a small space? You can. They need to have their workstations so that they can refresh trades. Otherwise, you'll be able to trade with them like twice and they'll just lock all of their trades. But in future, we're going to make a kind of trading hall that allows them to all be pretty well contained so that they're not just free roaming around like this. Will I be in Season 2 of Empires? I don't know at this point. I may as well say that here because I've said it elsewhere. But yeah, I'm genuinely not sure if I'm going to participate in Season 2 of Empires or not. All I know is it's not going to be for a while. Like, people have other projects on right now. There's various other bits and pieces. Scott's Major has Origins SMP, Fwip and Mythical Sausage and Pearl, and everybody will have Hardcore Worlds. Pearl and Gem do Hermitcraft. I don't know when that's coming back. I am very happy just doing Survival Guide from here on out. And, like, I don't know if I want to be part of Empires for a second season yet. It's obviously been a popular series. It would be a good business decision for me to do it, but there are definitely some things that I like and don't like about being part of an SMP, especially one that's based in, like, roleplay quite heavily. Like, it's not as much my bag. So I don't know if I'm going to participate or not. I haven't really decided. I believe we just have an open invitation to return if we want to. I don't think there's anybody who's, like, preventing me from doing that if I wanted to, but it's just figuring out, like, how I split my time between the stuff that I know I want to do, like this, and something like Empires that I'm not entirely certain how I want to play it, you know? I think the difficulty with roleplay for me is not necessarily, like, the doing of it. Like, it's... I have fun telling stories when I get the opportunity. That's why I like Dungeons & Dragons a lot. That's why I like, you know... I used to write short stories and things like that. It's fun making up characters and all of that stuff. The problem is you have, like, in this case, 12 people... potentially more in a future season. I don't know how it would shake out, but everybody is the protagonist of their own story. And at that point, it becomes, A, very difficult to keep plot lines straight so that everyone's on the same page about various things, especially when we don't all have the time to watch all of our own, like, each other's videos. I barely have time to watch my own videos. And, yeah, secondly, everyone is kind of, like, shouting over each other for who has, like, the plot line that takes center stage at any given moment, which we're very good at collaborating, that's what we do, right? But I find that as an overall experience, it ends up getting a little too hectic for me. And, like, I don't really know where to put a lot of my energy when it comes to that stuff. Honestly, like, if I came back to Empires, I don't know if this is the kind of thing that would work, especially on an SMP where it's, like, so story-driven and everyone has this kind of, like, kayfabe of, like, we're not allowed to say that Scott's Major is Zornoth and that kind of thing, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, that's okay to say now. But, like, we have all of these different storylines and stuff going on, I would almost want to be like a set designer or something, right? Like, I'd almost want to be part of a build team, except everyone else is such a good builder, I don't really know how I could help. But, like, I would almost want to, like, be like a member of somebody else's empire instead of having one of my own. Like, because that allows me to just potter around and do the stuff that I want to do and maybe mess around with mechanics and stuff, but not necessarily feel like I have to have a character arc and story progression and play the role of this hero character that I don't know if I necessarily vibe with or not. Right? Like, I think it's a very weird balance to strike. And ultimately, like, so much of the storytelling aspect of Minecraft roleplay right now has been, if not, like, I don't want to say forced on people, but effectively, like, people saw Dream SMP get really popular with effectively, like, an ongoing soap opera kind of story that they were telling. And everyone was like, how can we do that? Because that seems to be what people are watching right now. And so you get servers like Hermitcraft doing more story elements. You get servers like Empire's SMP forming. You get people trying to do, like, story-related things. Lore becomes, like, the meta of making Minecraft videos. And I'm over here just being like, I just want to explore some of the new mechanics and have fun with some of that. And, like, it's all just my opinion. Like, I had absolutely no problem playing on Empires. I have no problem with the people on Empires at all. Like, they're all lovely people. Like, they're a blast to work with. But I'm also just like, I don't necessarily buy into the idea of, alright, I'm paying more for glass now, I need to slow down a bit here. It's the kind of, the slightly more what feels like trend chasing aspects of it, like the fact that Philza gets popular and suddenly everybody is playing hardcore, like, that stuff always feels a little bit weird to me. Because it's Minecraft, and, like, so much of Minecraft relies on suspending your disbelief when all of this, like, epic stuff is supposed to be happening, and yet we're all still in a world where our characters don't even have different facial expressions. Like, it's difficult to sell that kind of stuff for me, and I have a hard time immersing myself in it. Lore has become such a lost in translation word. Yeah, I have my own, you know, opinions about that. And it's fine if people like that. Like, again, I am absolutely not trying to impose my own opinions on anybody else. It's just the way I feel about it. I had no problem with it, really. But I still don't know if it's my thing. When will I automate the bee farm? Already done it. Already done it. It's going to be an episode tomorrow. It's why I'm buying all this glass. Because I need glass bottles for the bee farm. I didn't buy the glass from the first villager because this guy is now trading me 3 emeralds for 4 glass panes. So his prices have gone up. And I would rather not pay more than I need to. So I'm going to not trade with him for a couple of cycles. His prices will go back down. I can keep buying glass from these guys in the meantime because they're only charging 1 emerald for it. Maximizes my glass, minimizes my spend. The thing is, like, saying kids like lore, adults like Minecraft. Adults like lore too. Like, everyone loves a good story. Like, there is definitely a certain contingent of people who aren't that keen on the storytelling aspect. Like, there may be kids who have that opinion as well. They're just like, hey, just tell me how to make a cool iron farm, please. But yeah, I'm so happy people loved Empires because it was very, very fun to be a part of. But like I said in the statement that I put on Twitter and on YouTube, like, I just found myself drifting away from it. And I can't necessarily, like, pinpoint a specific time that happened. I just kind of figured, like, I want to focus my efforts on 118. I want to explore, like, the game as a game instead of the game as a canvas to tell a different story. to paint a different picture. Like, I'm much more into exploring the game for what it is. I feel like there's enough material there for me. And it also, like, Hermitcraft had the same problem, right? It also leads to people just getting exhausted because you have to build stuff so fast. I think a second season of Empires could be fantastic because people could, in theory, not have to worry about it being, like, a 6-month project. Like, that's what I came into Empires thinking, like, we have until 118 comes out to do this. And so in my head, it was always going to end at that point. I was always going to go back to doing Survival Guide at that point, and obviously for other people, the series kept going after 118 came out, but the server was still in 117. It felt like things didn't evolve when you know, Minecraft itself evolved. And that might have been part of it for me. That might have been why I didn't really stick around. Like seeing the builds, but the special tool and weapon textures and stuff were far too removed from vanilla for me personally. That's the thing. That's the stuff that makes it feel like there's actually stuff going on that, you know, transcends Minecraft as a game. So I think that's the stuff that's almost more appealing about it. I just didn't have any access to that because I don't know any artists that could have really helped me model stuff in Blockbench, and I could have found those people if I'd been more into the concept, but I thought I could probably just do this stuff on my own. Just build some cool stuff. Do you think there's a place for a character on SMP that acts as the anti-SMP guy who just builds and explores but doesn't do roleplay? That was Joel. Smallish Beans in this season was basically like, I'm not doing the whole demon thing, he doesn't exist. And like that became a bit, and obviously like it was kind of funny for comedic purposes, but that was partly just generally his attitude. He's like, I'm not going to get involved with that stuff. It's just happening to you lot. And that's the approach I could have taken, but I didn't just want to copy what he was doing. But that's why I'd want to take a different approach, and like I said, not necessarily position myself as a protagonist. Like, just be like a passerby, you know? Build some cool stuff, maybe even build it for other people. But I don't want to rain on anyone's parade, you know? I don't want to be the one guy who doesn't participate in stuff, because that feels like, you know, being the party pooper at that point. I feel like Joel gets away with it because he's cheeky, but that's not necessarily my vibe in the same way. Joel is a lot funnier than I am. What's up, Boz? Hope you're well, buddy. Hope work is treating you well. I'm glad you're still streaming on the weekends, too. Hope that's all going well for you. Thank you for the 22 months. Daisy, Bexy, thank you for the resubs as well. Who is Phantom Guy, by the way? He's whoever you want him to be. Like, I said that at the end of, like, when I was kind of wrapping up. Everyone else was doing their finale episodes, and I was like, I'm not going to do a finale episode. Whatever story you want to make up in your head is as real as any of the stories that I could have told you. Because if it didn't happen on screen, then, like, it doesn't matter. Whatever you decide, you're the author now. Like, the fan fiction, the fan art, like, all of that stuff told a much more real and living story than I feel like it's possible to tell in Minecraft without heavy assistance from mods and texture packs and stuff. So, whatever you want to think of as the reality, that's up to you. Heard me talking about Pokemon. Are there any gyms in this version? As far as I'm aware, there are not. But I assume there are, like, other trainers out there for you to battle. I've had a trainer battle so far, but I've only played for the first, like, 90 minutes. And I've tried to avoid, like, too many spoilers for the remainder of, like, the story, the gameplay, that kind of stuff. Like, I've seen a few people just running around in these big open areas, throwing their Pokemon at trees so they knock down berries to collect and stuff, but like I haven't seen if there's not like a gym system. Like this game, yeah, no gyms in Pokemon Legends. It's positioned much more about like this is the time when humanity is still kind of trying to understand what Pokemon are. Like Pokemon are still treated like wild creatures, and it's not like they coexist with humanity at this point. It's much more like they're these big scary things that have miraculous properties, but we're all just kind of trying to figure out what exactly they are and what they do right now. And it's a really fun concept because it kind of takes you back to a time when, you know, the technology was new and it wasn't just taken for granted. Consider yourself a seasoned Minecraft player and you're enjoying the survival guide. I don't think it's just for new players. The way I look at the survival guide is, like, even if you don't need the tutorial aspect, at least it's like a fun, long-form Minecraft Let's Play. And it's going to touch on every part of the game that I possibly can. So if people don't want to watch the redstone stuff, then stick around for the building. If you're not that into the building, then we'll do some exploring, we'll do some combat, we'll do some, like, wacky episodes where I try and get the Wither to fight the dragon or something. You know, like, there's a variety of ways we can do that. I just want to make sure it stays, like, entertaining, fun, informative, all of that stuff. I play Pokemon. I've played Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Shield, and now Pokemon Legends Arceus. The other games in between, I was not in possession of the hardware to play, so I never really owned, like, a Game Boy Advance or a 3DS or anything, so I've only played a couple of entries in the franchise, but I like it. It's a fun set of games. See, he's now reduced his prices to 2, so another day and we'll probably be back down to baseline prices with him. He is also the newer librarian. Like, he was one that I didn't zombify and cure, so, like, these are all organically lowered prices just from gossip with the other villagers and trading, I guess. So, yeah, I think these two will trade me, like, 1 emerald for glass, basically, for life, because it can't really go much lower. But, yeah, that guy's recently bred. Could play the prankster if you decide to be in Season 2. That's the other thing, though. Like, pranks take a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort, a lot of thought, and I think to make a truly good prank, you have to know the other person pretty well, or know what they're doing. Like, with Jimmy and the Copper Cod thing, I knew that could be a fun thing to do, because he had this whole thing against salmon, and, like, I thought, well, I can make a salmon statue, because Copper, like, has a color palette that can make something that looks kind of like salmon. It can be a whole thing, and then I can redesign it to look like a cod later. And I could only really do that as, like, that was a pretty solid prank, but because I knew what Jimmy had going on, like, his whole vibe was very simple. But then I'm like, how do I prank Joel? When he has these incredible builds going on, he's a lot more of a funny guy. I just don't know what's gonna, like, make a good prank for him. And most of the time I like to do pranks that are actually also kind of gifts, like there's a bunch of resources involved or something, so that they can take the whole thing apart and they've got, like, a bunch of gold or diamonds, or you hide something in there that's kind of fun. Like, it has to be worth their time, worth good content, that kind of stuff. But, like, just having somebody fall into a hole, like, I don't know, it doesn't really register on the prank scale for me. Like, I always want something to have layers for it to be really good. I love this guy jumping up and down, like, pick me, trade with me. I'm like, sure, yeah, go for it. 55 levels now. A Trojan horse full of goods. Yeah, exactly. Like, you gotta think outside the box sometimes. Send Joel on a long scavenger hunt at the end as a mini version of his build. That's fun. Seems like a fun idea. Packed ice from you. And a few different dyes. No, not really worth it. What am I doing with that much XP? Sitting on it right now. Castle Ruin, thank you for the 23 months. What is it like mining for netherite again? It's fine. I mean, it's been long enough since the last beacon, and honestly, I had so much fun doing the netherite beacon that I would do it again, but it was also 3 months of my life spent streaming that when I want to use my time a little bit more wisely, especially at this stage in the series. If I completely run out of stuff to do on streams in future, then yeah, maybe we'll mine some netherite, who knows. 40% Joel on a scavenger hunt like that in an episode at the end, it was horses for Joel to kill. I mean, fair enough. What Minecraft launcher do I use? The standard one. Like the usual one. I use multi-MC when I'm launching any kind of modded instance, like if I use the replay mod for stuff, but I haven't done that for a while. Alright, we'll come back for the rest of the glass. Let's just move this through the nether. Where is my... Did I put my gold helmet back in the ender chest? I bet I did. I did not. Okay, bet I did not. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Swap that real quick. When is Java going to get the Bedrock Edition armor hot swap? I think that's so useful. What's all the glass for? Tomorrow's episode is about bee farming. And I need lots of glass for glass bottles for the honey farm. Did Sausage building the embassy trapping it annoy me, or was it all set up in advance? We didn't discuss it in advance. He said, I built something annoying at your base, so record it when you can. And I assumed it was going to be a trap because it was a massive build in my base. I just went along with it because I thought it was funny. And I didn't expect to lose all my stuff. Like, I expected it to be like 1 TNT minecart and not 5 or however many it was. So I didn't expect to lose all of my gear, but it also then, it makes content. Like, it leads into, oh, hey, my stuff blew up. Let me go and get, like, netherite equipment from Fwip because he's just set up this forge where he can turn anybody's gear into netherite. Like, it leads into new stuff. Like, the only thing that you lose at that point is, like, maybe a little bit of time. And I'd had diamond gear from day one because I started villager trading quite early. So, realistically, it was never going to be a problem for me. And whether Sausage knew that or not is another matter, but I don't think he expected all of my stuff to be destroyed. But, you know, you got to call people's bluff occasionally. You got to play chicken with them. It's fun. Right, so we can throw these in here. Actually, let's take half of those and throw them in there, because I don't think we'll have that many more bottles to bring back from trading this glass. And that's going to fill up from the start here, so we'll probably try and even those out a little bit once all the bottles are in, but most of that should now be full. In the meantime, our bees have made more honey, which is great. So I'm glad these farms do work in the spawn chunks. That's very good to know. We have so much honeycomb now, it's great. This is such a small farm as well. Like, it's four bee nests, that's it. Although these ones do seem to just be pollinated already, so maybe they're waiting for night to go inside, I don't know. The nests themselves don't seem to have honey yet, so that's fine. What can you use the honey and honeycomb for? Honeycomb can be made into blocks. It's used to wax copper. You can make candles out of it. There's like a ton of uses for honeycomb now. Honey blocks are basically like slime blocks, but not. They are sticky instead of bouncy, so you can use them to trap mobs, and mobs won't be able to like jump out of a 1-block hole, which is very useful. You can also use them to push blocks around the way slime blocks work, but then slime blocks and honey blocks don't stick to each other, so you can make a lot of very good, complex redstone contraptions using honey and slime in tandem. It's going to be very useful later on. You can also use honey bottles to top up saturation, dispel poison effects, so those are also kind of useful. Can use honey to trap things in real life. Yeah, wasps. If you put like a really viscous substance out in like a jam jar, even jam I think works, but a lot of the time if there are a bunch of wasps hanging around your garden on a hot day, you put out like a jam jar with honey in it, and they'll all go after it because they're after the kind of like the sweetness, the nectar and stuff, and then they can't get out and they just end up suffocating in it, which is brutal, but wasps are awful, so it's kind of fine. And now we sleep, because it is dark. And also raining. That probably wasn't quite long enough for stuff to spawn around here, but we'll do a quick sweep of the perimeter. It's also kind of useful that villages are somewhat well lit up. And the fact that torches have like twice the, or 4 times the spawn protection radius as they used to. There's one zombie over there, but that's my villager zombifier, so he's fine. I think we're good. I think we're good. There's so many golems around here as well. Jam works too, yeah. Do I live in the village? No, this is a Savanna village that I came out to. It's about 1,500 blocks from spawn. It's just a basically the first village that I found. And I bred a bunch of villagers so I could have one of every profession. Doubled down on a few other professions that I need a lot of, like librarians for books and glass. A couple of toolsmiths so that I have diamond equipment available, and just went from there, really. English wasps are horrible, but foreign wasps are nice. Are they? Wasps eat too much hot dog to fly and fall in a bucket of water. It's really interesting. I expect having a hot dog hanging up in your yard asks, you know, gets people asking questions. Ever seen Japanese wasps? Those are large. No, and I don't wish to. Wasps and large are 2 words I don't want to hear in the same sentence. Will I install mini block and mob heads data packs in future? No, I'm planning on keeping this series as vanilla as possible, with the vague exception of maybe something like Optifine so I can have connected glass at some stage. And maybe a data pack that prevents Enderman griefing, but that is as far as it went in the first season of Survival Guide, so I think that's probably what I'll stick to with this season as well. Yeah, they all worked just then, but none of them refreshed their trades. This guy's still asking 2 emeralds for a glass block. Edu Villad, thanks so much for the 5 months. Yeah, lower shield is a resource pack, but that's... Again, it's not modifying gameplay. Optifine is a mod because it's, you know, a modded server jar, but that's basically it. Family enjoyed the Bastion episode this morning. Nice. Thanks for dropping in. We're currently just trading for emeralds with these villagers and buying a bunch of glass from the librarians because tomorrow's episode is a bee farm and I need a lot of glass bottles for that. So we're going to hopefully be able to buy some glass from these guys. I have 3 glass traders. These villagers, for whatever reason, have issues refreshing some of their trades, but now this guy is now back to 1 emerald per glass block. Or per 4 glass blocks, so it's... a little bit better in terms of prices now. You just have to not be too near to the villagers when they want to refresh their trades, because half the time they end up looking at you instead of looking at their workstation. There we go. The Bastion video came out after I died 3 times raiding a bridge. Bastion? Yeah, a couple of people in my comments said, like, thank goodness you put out this video, I just died, or I wish you'd put this out earlier because I just died. And I'm like, sorry. I do not have the foresight to understand when people are going to die. What's the difference between a texture pack and a resource pack? A texture pack was what they used to be, but resource packs have a little bit more stuff you can do with them. Like, resources are not just textures, they are also sounds, they are sometimes things like advancements. Although I think those are data pack driven now. There's a variety of things that can be modified about the game superficially rather than changing gameplay. I mean, music, for example, like that's one of them. It's a resource pack is basically texture packs plus. if that makes any sense. Everyone silently agreed to raid a Bastion the day before I released today's video. Yes, everyone was like, Monday, Bastion raid day. Oh, you poor fools. You good? Ah, this guy's trading now. Fantastic. This guy has refreshed his trades. This one is back to trading 2 emeralds. Yeah, there we go. I think I need to trade, like, the final trade in there. They're like a master tier trade, and that actually gets your reputation up a little higher with them. So let's throw some name tags in here for now. The treasure was worth it. Yeah, we got 2 more ancient debris. Guess what I ended up doing with that? Do piglins have reputation like villagers? No, piglins don't have prices. Why do I have subtitles on? It helps people who are hard of hearing, because I talk over the video or the stream a lot. And also it helps me, because honestly, knowing which direction sound effects are coming from is really good, especially when you don't have, like, full headphones on. And when I'm commentating, it kind of helps to know that, like, a zombie noise that I've heard is coming from a specific direction. Like, sometimes it's hard to concentrate on that stuff. I play with the game on a slightly lower volume. It's good to know. You also get to see some really fun, like, vocabulary expanding subtitles. Along with some funny ones like Enderman Whoops. Am I going to do a raid this week? Probably not this week, no. Maybe next week, I'm not certain yet. I haven't really decided when we're going to cover pillager raids. They seem more like endgame stuff to me. But then, you know, we've been to do a woodland mansion. We've got Totems of Undying. There's options there. Your favorite subtitle is Donkey Hee-Haws. There was one for a while, which I don't think happens anymore. I think they changed it. But if you, you got, you know, you can feed a brown mushroom a flower, and you can get suspicious stew from it instead of mushroom stew if you milk it using a bowl. The subtitle for that used to be Mushroom Gets Milked Suspiciously, but I think they changed it in whatever version. It still says that. Maybe I was using a different language pack then, because it might be different in the... like, I was using the UK English language pack for a while. Which is why, for a while, my baked potatoes were jacket potatoes or something. So if it still says that in US English, then... How do you milk something suspiciously? I feel like the product was more suspicious than the actual act of milking, although the clause is kind of in the wrong order if that was the case. I don't know. Got really spooked by Eye of Ender attaches in bingo, and then it's just the sound of you getting an item on your board. Yeah, the game just plays that sound, like the data pack is configured that way. I'm on the US version now. Yeah, I decided to, not necessarily, like, it wasn't like a fresh install of Minecraft, but I basically wiped all of my previous configs when 1.18 came out, because I figured probably best to do whatever the default settings are for everything, so I've got the version that everybody else gets when they just, like, buy Minecraft out of the box. Uno Rabbito, welcome in! I'm glad you're enjoying the YouTube videos and this little behind-the-scenes look. Love the comical languages in Minecraft. Yeah, lolcat is very funny. Shakespearean English was always my favorite. Got a decent chunk of glowstone. Priests are basically, or clerics are basically, like redstone lamp farms. Did I port my Minecraft account to Microsoft? I did, yes. Two-factor authentication was pretty important to me as somebody who does this for a living. So it made sense. Who can remember buying computer games that actually came in boxes? Can I raise my hand for that one? I'm old. Where did I work before making videos on YouTube? Well, both of my recent jobs I have had came while I was making videos on YouTube. So before that, I worked in like bookshops. But I started making videos at the same time I was working at Disney Interactive, doing customer service and online moderation for online Disney games like Club Penguin and Disney Infinity. How do I fight off procrastination? By procrastinating. But honestly, I have a fun enough job that I don't exactly need to worry about that. Like, I get up in the morning looking forward to making Minecraft videos. Old Absimiliard, thank you for gifting a sub. And Esgotro, thank you for the 19 months. Appreciate you both. Let's run this glass back to the house. Have I seen Fwip's video about leaving Twitch and moving to YouTube? I have not. Fair play to him. It's his decision. Did I create the music outro by myself? No, that is Other Side by Lena Rain. That is the new music disc that was added in the 118 update. I'll procrastinate tomorrow and do this stuff instead, yeah, basically. I'm struggling to get motivated to study. Well, that's a different thing. Like, I don't really have great advice for that. Because I was definitely the procrastinating type after a certain point with my school stuff as well. Yeah, get back. Why so many streamers leaving Twitch? I mean, there's been a lot of contention around Twitch's revenue split with streamers for both affiliates and partners, and negotiating a better cut of the revenue that Twitch makes on your content is kind of on a lot of people's minds lately, so that may be part of Fwip's decision. I don't know. Alright, so each of those is now... These two are fuller than these ones are, so we'll probably craft a few more stacks and we'll be good, I think. Why don't I turn on face cam on YouTube? Well, for a start, it's a little bit different than just, like, turning on a face cam, but... The main reason I don't use a face cam on my YouTube videos is because I make tutorial videos, and the way people deliver tutorials if they've got a camera on their face is by talking to the camera, so you understand and you're engaging with the audience. But that means I look away from the screen, and then a creeper walks up and blows me up. That's typically the problem for me, is that I don't want to get distracted from the actual gameplay, because that's what people are really here to see when I make a tutorial series. Also, how unsettling was that for you, by the way? Because that felt weird for me. But also, a lot of people who have face cams in their YouTube videos, especially when they're playing video games, are doing it because their reactions are important to the video, and they are, like, you know, a more personality-driven channel, right? It's much more about watching their reactions to, like, wacky stuff happens in this video game. Oh, no! Ugh. They've got, like, thumbnails that have them being, like, about stuff, and that's just not my personality at all. And it's not the kind of personality I'm interested in forcing for content like this. Like, I'm much more interested in presenting an authentic reaction to this game, and this game has thrown so much stuff at me in the past that I don't really get, like, falling out of my chair reactions to it anymore. Like, this game doesn't have that many surprises left for me. Not surprises that I feel like my reactions visually would be worth. Like, I have a very stoic attitude to basically everything. Alright, Keeleon, no worries. Thank you so much for the 1,000 bits. Enjoy celery streams. Happy Cat, thank you for the 2 months in a row. Really enjoying the content. I'm glad to hear it. And clear up these poppies as well. These are where I was farming the... I like natural bee nests a lot more than beehives for farms like this. They just look so pretty. But I mind building some stairs to the basement and maybe nether portal. I'm not certain how I want to redesign these areas. I'm pretty sure the nether portal I want to put geode blocks around, but I want to do an episode about geodes before I do that. So eventually it'll happen, but this area is going to, you know, evolve over the course of the series. So we're going to see this area go through some changes, and I'm holding off on redesigning stuff and then having to redesign the stuff, you know? How will new players be prepared for the complex emotions they feel when learning to play Minecraft? I mean, they'll figure it out for themselves. Is this going to be in the next episode? No, this is kind of between episodes. The bee farm is tomorrow's episode, but the stuff we're doing today is just trading. Like, we've seen this stuff in the series before. And I did actually mention in the video that I was going to do some trading between episodes, so this is actually kind of right on schedule for me. A lot of blazes. I'll just leave. Survival Guide 320, Stoicism, I mean, right? Can you make a nether hub but below the bedrock since you're playing on bedrock? Yeah, when I end up making a nether hub, it's probably going to be in the actual nether, because I feel like that presents A, more of a fun challenge, and B, an opportunity to see the terrain of the nether, which is actually quite pretty now. We'll see. It's trading off camera instead of mining. But at least everybody knows what villager trading looks like at this point. Ow. What's my favorite thing to do in Minecraft? Probably building, but I have to know what I'm building. I'm not one of those people who can just freestyle builds out of nowhere. Like, it has to be at least a little bit planned, or inspiration has to strike. You can't build anything below bedrock. I think they meant below the bedrock ceiling, not below the bedrock floor. Because they were playing on Bedrock Edition, they were saying, like, I can't build on the nether roof, so please make your nether hub inside of the nether cavern. That was more what they were saying. I understood, I think. Alright, he's back to 2 emeralds. You want iron again, so we'll trade with you. And you, and you, and you. Alright. Yeah, these two have been rock solid in terms of glass prices. This guy thinks he's got a smart business plan. Episode on jukeboxes. We'll do music discs at some stage, because we'll have to, like, farm creepers for them and things. We'll go looking for Other Side and Pigstep. I was honestly like, if Pigstep, the music disc, had been in that bastion, I would have, you know, been able to say more about it then. And so I was ready for either Pigstep or the Snout banner pattern or a lodestone. We could have done a whole thing about lodestones in the Bastion episode, but we got the Snout pattern. So at some stage we'll talk about banners, but we might end up doing that in the episodes following the Ender Dragon fight, because we'll be starting to look at, like, theming areas and building projects and starting larger stuff in the series. So banners being a reflection of an area's theme or personality is kind of a useful thing. Rather than just telling you can make banners, I want to be like, you can put stuff on banners. Here's why you might want to do that. Lodestones are in bridge bastions. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't remember off the top of my head which bastion we had over there. Like, I wasn't certain which one it was going to be. Like, I didn't look at it closely enough when we were making the nether tunnels to say, like, is this a Hogland stables or a bridge? It clearly wasn't a treasure room, because they're massive, but Making a mixtape this time around, maybe. There's going to be an episode for achievements, so maybe that might cover music disc. We might end up doing that as part of a music disc themed episode instead, you know? But I'm not going to just do an episode about advancements, because there's so many, and there are some that are more arbitrary, like, you know, making sign text glow. But I haven't even done that in this series yet. We've had 40-something episodes. Today was episode 42. I still haven't put glow ink on a sign yet. But yeah, finishing all the advancements is going to be one of the overall goals of this series. I think episode 101 of Survival Guide Season 1 was How Did We Get Here? It's not going to be the case with this one. I think it's going to be much later than that. Because there's a lot of stuff we have to do. I still get a lot of comments about, like, you know, in the last series you fought the Ender Dragon in episode 25, how has it taken you so long to do it this time? It's like, we've had 5 major updates to Minecraft, pretty much all of which have focused on stuff before the end. Like, since 1.13, we've had Village and Pillage, which has completely overhauled this aspect and given us pillager outposts and raids and patrols, all of that sort of stuff. Update Aquatic gave us things like shipwrecks and drowned ruins, all of that other stuff to explore, which some of which I did before the dragon fight, some of which I did after the dragon fight in the first series. I mean, 1.15 gave us bees, and we've already spent 2 episodes on those. 1.16 gave us the Nether update and everything that's in that. 1.17 added a ton of blocks and stuff to the overworld, and now 1.18 has completely changed the overworld terrain. It's like everything happens before the dragon fight. And one of the things I want to do with this series is show people some of the stuff you're going to run into, because they might have spawned next to it in their worlds if they had a random seed. It was absurd to me that we hadn't found a desert before we went to fight the Ender Dragon if that was the way we'd done it. So I wanted to make sure I found at least like a desert or a cold biome or something like that. We still haven't found a mushroom island. Like, there's a few other things in the overworld that we could even look for before we go fighting the dragon. I don't think we will at this point, because there is some stuff that, yeah, it's going to be fun to explore using Elytra. We can get a different perspective on the landscape and everything. So we might be able to do that, but it seems very strange to me to think, yeah, sure, let's go and fight the dragon kind of arbitrarily before we've even found, like, a snow plains. The meme in the all advancement speedrun is to complete crafting a stone pickaxe last. That's funny. It was so funny in Clash of the Creators when we were like an hour and a half in and Cub crafted a stone pickaxe and was like, well, I can do that now. But yeah, people, I think, have been influenced maybe a little bit by the rise of speedrunning as like a popular format as well, which has obviously been around for the longest time, but people are definitely like, killing the dragon is something you do day one, right? Like, on Hermitcraft, they're just like, oh, sure, let's go and kill the dragon instantly. You've got iron gear and a bucket, sure, you can go kill the dragon. Like, farm arrows from a Fletcher, go kill the dragon. You can do it within 30 minutes or less if you're a reasonably competent speedrunner. It's not the goal for me. I don't want to try and, like, rush other people who are watching the series and playing Minecraft for the first time into the idea that they have to go and beat the game's final boss. Like, it's, not necessarily everyone's idea of a good time. It will be once they find out what shulker boxes are. Speedrunners kind of ruin the tournaments, to be honest. I mean, everyone else needs to up their game. Or the tournaments need to design something that levels the playing field for folks who can speedrun. Like, I haven't watched any of the Twitch Rivals stuff lately, but I assume, like, the speedrunning teams have all done pretty well. But then again, why should people who are, like, you know, everyone wants to see the Hermits win because you watch the Hermits play on their SMP, but, like, why should they be given any kind of, like, special treatment, you know? Like, the way to make something competitive is to introduce an element of, like, a time limit and things like that, and that's what speedrunners are good at adapting to. The stuff that they're learning to optimize is movement, it's reactions, all of the kind of stuff that's going to matter in a tournament context in Minecraft. The recent one, the escape room, was pretty balanced. Yeah, I didn't catch the most recent Twitch Rivals, but that sounds like a cool concept. We define a good Minecraft player as more than the skill set that speedrunners have. Yeah, I mean, I think overall being a good Minecraft player is a little bit more about, like, depth and breadth of knowledge of the game overall, but that kind of stuff is very difficult to judge in a competitive context. It's like build competitions. It's all subjective at that stage. You can't really do anything competitive that involves players either building or using redstone. Most competitive thing in Minecraft, trying not to die. Yeah, but there's some people who make this game look easy in terms of, like, the PvE aspects of it. And PvP is a whole different skill set as well, so that's a whole different argument. Will I ever do a hardcore version of 118? No, probably not. I don't see the point in playing hardcore for the stuff that I like to do. Like, I see the point in other people playing hardcore, but again, it's like the reaction-based YouTube stuff. Like, the reason people watch hardcore players is for the tension of, like, is this person going to die today or not? And, like, what can they accomplish the rest of the time? But for me, like, I want to put all my effort into this series, and this series is never going to be in hardcore. Like, there is no difference between playing this series on hard or hardcore, because I'm on hard difficulty, and it's exactly the same, except I can respawn if I want to. And inevitably, when something ends up killing me, I'll be able to make a fun episode about it, instead of having to restart my series from scratch and have wasted all of my time up until that point. 118.2 is coming. It is, but it's not going to have, like, any massive changes. I'm trying to think what's in 118.2. And it's, like, a couple of, like, minor tweaks to stuff for multiplayer servers, I think. Like hardcore yourself, but it's absolutely an issue of taste. Yeah, I mean, you can enjoy hardcore. That's totally fine. Not going to argue with it. It's just not a format that works for the kind of content I want to make. It's got a lot on Bedrock. I'm so happy Bedrock has seed parity. Like, 64-bit seeds on Bedrock is huge. Like, I know there's a lot of other stuff that people are trying to encourage Mojang to consider reverting about, like, mob farms and everything else. But, yeah, just having 64-bit seeds working is great. Will I ever do redstone builds on my world? Describe redstone builds. What does that mean? Because, like, I have an automatic bee farm that I did in tomorrow's episode. I already have, like, sugarcane farms and stuff set up. Nether Roof Gold Farms or Guardian Farm first? See, I would have said Guardian Farm back in the day. I don't know anymore. Because I feel like I don't use Prismarine as much as I was interested in doing previously. And Sea Lanterns used to be, like, a really desirable light source, but I feel like people don't use them as much anymore. Trading hall like I built in Season 1 works in 1.1 whatever. Yeah, I think they do. Although, depends when in Season 1, because villagers have changed since I started that season. Like, the villagers that I was breeding in 113 are different to the 114 plus villagers. Shroomlights are easier than Guardians. I mean, you can get a lot more from a Guardian farm than you can from, like, even an automatic tree farm. Just the automatic tree farm gives you other stuff. When exploring, how do I not get lost without a map or a compass? I end up using landmarks to explore a lot, and if all else fails, I switch on coordinates. But I don't do that very often because I have a decent sense of direction in this game. It's more of a problem in caves, and in caves a map or a compass isn't going to help you anyway. Will I make a Hogland farm? Maybe, but we'll have to build one of those on the nether roof, I expect, for it to be, like, vaguely functional at first. Did I already talk about whether I'll rejoin Empires? Yes, I did. And my answer was, I'm not sure. Am I interested in playing the Haunted Chocolatier game? Concerned Apes new game? When's it out? Does it have a release date yet? Because I know he's put out a trailer for it, but I haven't heard any more news about it since then. If I end up playing it, it might not be on stream. Depends what the overall opinion of the game is. 113 villagers were OP, never locked their trades. They did. The ones that you brought from 113 to 114 were kind of OP, but then they patched that, I believe. And then 113 villagers in general still locked their trades, but then you could trade other stuff from them, and then they unlocked the trades that you'd had previously. So if you locked 3 categories of item, a 4th would always unlock the other 3, I think. That's how it worked. I can't even remember how old villager mechanics were, man. They were so, like, so weird. With a gold farm, you can have a better bartering farm. Yes, but I, you know, don't have a bartering farm yet, so that's not really a concern right now. What I need to get from bartering? Gravel? Free iron nuggets? To supplement my already overwhelming single-cell iron farm? Fire resist potions, soul speed books, quartz, I guess. But, like, soul speed I can just get by bartering with a couple of piglins. They'll throw a book eventually. Still can't believe you couldn't reroll villager trades pre-114. You could, it just involved killing the villager and getting another one. That's how everybody used to do it. You just, like, churn through villagers, just killing them mercilessly. It was awful. What got me into Minecraft and what's made me start making content about it? The same answer, really. Like, I heard about Minecraft when I used to work at Club Penguin, and Minecraft was like a competitor because it was a game that kids of a similar age were into. So one of my colleagues, because we used to do like occasional kind of light-hearted competitor research projects where we were like, what are kids talking about? A lot of the time kids will talk about Minecraft in the game. What is Minecraft? What can we learn about it? Kind of thing. And yes, I worked at Club Penguin, and so that was really the first that I'd really seen Minecraft. I'd heard the name, you know. And then a friend of mine who worked at the same place was giving away his old Xbox 360 because he was like, you know, I got an Xbox One now, I don't need it. And I didn't have a current games console at the time. I was still playing on like a PS2 and playing old games. I was playing Burnout 3 and Final Fantasy 12 and stuff. And he was like, hey, I can just give you my Xbox, play something that's a bit more up to date. And I played Minecraft on Xbox for like 6 months and got really into it. And then my brother-in-law, Rob, my English brother-in-law, my sister's husband, was playing Minecraft on PC on this content creator server that was decidedly vanilla, the first server I made videos from. And he said, you'd probably be quite good at this whole video making thing. I will build you a PC from spare parts I have lying around, which is definitely not the PC I have now. The PC I had at the time was barely good enough to run recording software that would record at 480p, definitely under 30 frames per second, and it couldn't run Windows at the same time. I eventually got some components to upgrade it and ended up with a a setup that lasted me until I had enough money to actually buy a PC of my own. But then Rob basically encouraging me to join Decidedly Vanilla is what got me into making videos, because he said, like, I play Minecraft with a bunch of other people, it's a super fun time, but you're only allowed to join this server if you're a YouTube content creator. So I went, yeah, okay, I can give this whole video making thing a try. I've been enjoying watching people's Minecraft videos up to that point. So there it was. And the rest is history. Ancient history at this point. Will I ever do any redstone builds or related types of them? Redstone contraptions, zombie pig farms, guardian farms, flying machines, ender dragon farm, wither farm, and finally, disabling mobs farm. You mean a mob switch? Yes. Yeah, I plan to do all of those things except maybe an ender dragon farm, because those always seem far too complicated and not worth the hassle. If the ender dragon dropped the same amount of XP it drops the first time you fight it, then yeah, I'd do something like that. But you can't farm the ender dragon for resources, it only drops XP. And it doesn't really drop a very good amount of XP in later iterations, so I don't see the point in farming it for anything in that sense. What did I do for Club Penguin? I was email support. I would approve usernames, because obviously it was a kids game, so people would try and create accounts with obscene usernames that we had to either, like, disallow their username so it would come up as, like, a generic Penguin 30484 or whatever, or we'd just ban them outright because it was clear that they were there to cause trouble. I'd go online and moderate chat rooms sometimes, like that kind of stuff. It was all paid work. Like I was a Disney employee for 4 years. Yeah, all kinds of stuff really. Whenever like the mascot penguins showed up on the island, there was usually like a moderator or two in there. I ended up being one of the mascot penguins for a couple of the events, that kind of thing. Like it was a good time. It was like being Mickey Mouse at Disneyland. Except the online version. Even end up, like, helping to co-write the blog posts that I used to have on, like, the kind of Club Penguin blog page. How do villagers not die out in the open? I sleep every night, so there aren't any zombies around. Is basically it. They're far enough away from the river that, like, drowned don't really spawn in this river anyway, but if they did, they probably wouldn't see the villagers. Villagers would have to be standing in a water source block for the drowned to pathfind to them. And, yeah, like, I don't let it get dark enough around here for mobs to spawn. I've found any of the caves that were in the area and plugged them up. And the one place I found in the YouTube video where over there they were just walking into like a trench full of water and dying, I have now covered up. Coming in to find out I worked for Club Penguin is the best information to learn. What's up, Atmos? How you doing? I've lurked on a couple of your Stardew streams. Seems like you guys have a good time over there. Always a pleasure. Iceburner, thank you so much for the 6 months. And Old Absamiliard, thank you for the 5 months as well. Yes, no, I did used to work for Club Penguin for about 4 years. For, I guess, like, a year and a half of that, I was doing email support for Disney Infinity as well. So I've gotten around the Disney email chains. And, yeah, eventually our office was shut down and we were all made redundant, but it was a fun time for a while there. What are we gonna... Let's throw the glass over here at least. I know nothing about Minecraft, so I'm here to lurk and be impressed by your skills. Well, today we're not doing anything super impressive. We're just trading with villagers, but it's a good way to get resources. I have a feeling you know a great deal more about Stardew Valley than I do, even though I love that game. That is probably the game that, like, pound for pound, I've played most on Steam. Minecraft obviously outstrips all of that. Like, yeah, that's for sure. But I've definitely played a lot of Stardew Valley. I think I have like 500 hours or so in that game. But I always end up playing it, getting really close to completing everything, and then I just, like, I lose interest because I don't want it to be over or something. But I love that game. It's so good. Could use some shulker boxes. Boy, could I. That's going to happen at some point. I will go and fight the dragon and do the whole end raid thing. Will I ever do a duo survival guide or anything like that? Probably not. I like doing this stuff on my own because I get to do stuff at my own pace. I keep trying to jump to that and I always miss because I don't time the jump right. I don't, like, bounce before I hit the roof. Let's buy some more redstone from this guy as well. I'm going to leave off the ender pearls for now because I don't want to get too many of those, but... You're at about 350 hours of Stardew. It's a fun game. You get sucked into that game. Have I played Graveyard Keeper? Yes. I still have... I think there are VODs up on my VODs channel of having played through Graveyard Keeper. I played it when it was first released because everyone was like, oh cool, new Stardew Valley is out. And that was really fun. There were a couple of weird elements of it. There were a couple of, like, small bugs here and there, but yeah, I kicked around Graveyard Keeper for a while. Somebody at Mojang calls you and offers you to work with them. What would I like to do there? What would be the ideal position for me? Keep doing what I'm doing, basically. Like, I've made more doing this job than I have at any of my other, like, salaried jobs. Like, working for myself, working, like, making YouTube videos and working, doing Twitch streams. The podcast, the Hermitcraft recap, all of that stuff amounts to, like, a decent wage. I will leave it at that. But, yeah, in order to take a more traditional job, I would have to be very passionate about what I did. And, like, I mean, I don't know what kind of salaries Mojang offers, but, like, I'm not a developer. I don't code. I don't really know a great deal about that stuff. So, for me, it would have to be something much more related to, like, play testing, maybe some elements of, like, just generating ideas, but that's what the developers themselves do, and they also code those ideas into the game, which is not something I'm really capable of. I'm not a very talented artist, so I couldn't really do anything related to design. Like, I don't know, public relations. Like, I can enthuse to people about Minecraft for a while. Really looking forward to what Nembon does for Mojang. Yeah, I mean, Nembon is a pretty talented coder. He's been making mods for a while. Like, they tend to hire from the modded community because there are people who can code in Java. Like, that's a pretty obvious thing. Be the social media manager answering players' questions about how to play this game. The thing is, social media managers don't do that. People go to YouTube for that. Social media managers basically just answer people's queries about their accounts getting stolen. Or, like, put out posts about new features only to be overwhelmed by people saying, like, when are you going to fix iron farms or whatever. So, like, you know, some of the things that you think of as being, like, ideal roles at, like, a video game company turn out to just be really hard work. I'm gonna put that out there right now. Like, even working at the Walt Disney Company was not exactly Mickey Mouse every single day, you know what I mean? I think you already do Minecraft public relations. Exactly. Like, the only benefit would be, like, knowing what the next update is in Minecraft a couple of days before the general public did, and, like, I wouldn't be able to tell anybody about that, so, like, it would almost be, like, worse, because I wouldn't be able to get excited when everybody else did. Pretty sure this arrangement is better for both Pix and Mojang. Entirely it is. They don't want me working for them. Not that I'm a bad employee or anything like that. I just wouldn't know what I was doing. Be happy to see you one of the people who does the update reveals. I mean, I don't mind being on stage at Minecraft Live or whatever, but then there's also, like, there are people who are very good at doing that already, and also they get the community involved with those when they can. Like, they get guest spots from YouTube creators and stuff because those are the people pay attention to, right? Iron farms in 118 are pretty good, I think. They're pretty good. Turns out they're alright. Finally, this guy brings down his prices. Minecraft now exists, but for how long? Minecraft now ended up getting, like, delayed last month because of Sweden's more recent COVID restrictions, limiting the amount of people they could have on set in their office and stuff, and they wanted to comply with that, of course, like, they're a sensible company, and they've been on top of things with COVID from the beginning, but, yeah, I saw a lot of people being like, haha, Minecraft when? And, yeah, it was, an unfortunate thing that it had to be delayed, but understandable given the circumstances. Do I like the changes in world generation? Absolutely I do. I love this stuff. The stuff around here isn't necessarily all that different looking until you start looking at like how tall some of the plateaus are, and then you look at the cave system that's over here. Let's go visit that again, actually, because this is one of the places I'm planning on building like more of a... I won't call it a base necessarily, because I'm not sure how much base element is going to be part of it, but I want there to be a more organized build over here. And it's in this hillside, which is... Oh, you know, I've been down there. That's an area I lit up because I was like, a zombie is going to walk out of this and eat my villagers. Minecraft soon TM, yeah, exactly. Not a lush cave build, this is a dripstone cave. And I just really like the look of it. It was easier to get to when I had my mule. But, once again, I neglected that because it's quite far away. Have I seen the Minecraft preview announcement? I have. It seems like a cool concept for Bedrock betas and will solve a lot of problems people were having flipping back and forth between the beta and the release version. So it makes a great deal of sense. Minecraft bruh. Yeah, exactly. Aerodymia, thank you for the 7 months. Sad to see Empires is Gone Survival Guide is better, TVH. I don't want to call anything better or worse. I'm just, I think, happier doing stuff like Survival Guide for the present time, at least. See, it wasn't there. It was over here, I think. What's the best and worst biome to build a base in? There are no bad biomes, really. I think the most tricky biome to build in is probably the end because of how few natural resources there are. If you want to generate anything sustainably in the end, you have to bring everything yourself, which is what me and Zloy XP found out when we decided to build a base there in one of the seasons of Don't Die. We both went out to the end before anybody had fought the dragon. We bridged out however many 1,000 blocks, and yeah, we ended up doing some fun stuff out there, but we had to bring supplies for a cobblestone generator, dirt and saplings to grow trees, and then our block palette was severely limited. So the end is fun. Endermen are everywhere. There is no day-night cycle. There's some cool stuff you can do out there, but it's also a little bit tricky to get stuff started out there, and anytime you want anything, you have to come back to the overworld and then get back out to your base, which is usually quite a difficult trip. So this is the place I want to build a base. Right here, inside this screaming cavern. Let me open up the filters that give me gamma correction so you guys can see a little bit better inside of there. This is the place I want to turn into a base, somehow. I want to have, like, winch systems that are kind of carrying people up to areas around here so that they can mine the dripstone and stuff like that. Like, I want this to feel like a kind of mining base. Like, a pretty serious industrial operation is going on inside of here. But, like, where do we start, right? Like, I'm very curious about how we can transform that. I'm going to look into some ideas, maybe get some reference material, some maybe steampunky looking stuff, who knows. But we'll see what we can do with it. Indiana Jones in the Dripstone Cave? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, old rickety mine is an option. Something a little bit more modern looking, a bit more serious. Huge drowned farm inside? A possibility, because drowned do spawn in dripstone caves, so you could do something like that. Depending on how deep the dripstone cave goes as well, you could make a very efficient drowned farm that way. There's also, like, this hillside just, you know, looking like that one concept art for the Warden. And there's also this cave opposite, which could have a kind of similar thing. Plus, there's jungle right here, and so I'm kind of curious if that's where they would get the wood from for a project like this. But this is a slightly smaller area that has similar vibes. The other one is just way more epic. So there's stuff going on inside of here that we could really play around with. It's also not quite in the Savanna biome either, so we get nicer grass color there. But we can do stuff with moss, you know, it doesn't matter really where the grass color is anymore. Just the holes in the hillside, how is it still intact? Swiss cheese, baby! Somehow it holds together. Jonas, thanks so much for the Prime sub. Brand new Prime sub to the channel too. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge, or welcome to the Pixels. Nice bright grass for your dripstone cave. You never know. Let's take down a couple of logs here just so I can make a boat and boat the river back. Jungle planks work well with certain stages of copper, granite, and dripstone. Yeah, it depends whether you want to have it be a contrast or if you want to have it blend in. I did a bunch of stuff with granite, jungle planks, bricks, all in the pathways around Pixandria on Empires, and so I kind of think, yeah, that color palette works together if you want a series of different colors, but I'm not entirely certain if that's what I want for a mine, because you'd want the wood planks, the pulley system, winches, whatever they're using in there, you'd want that to be... You want it to be a little bit more contrast, like you'd want it to stand out some. Is there renewable sand in 118? Not unless you build a gravity block duper, like... What's the word? Like an end portal based sand farm, which isn't really intended. It's not like... Not like Mojang intended renewable sand. The only other thing you can do is buy it from the Wandering Trader, which, again, I don't count as renewable. Just looking at the cave is making you want to grab your Fortune 3 pickaxe and mine all the copper down there. Dude, I have so much copper. It's unreal that I don't want to collect copper when I see it, but, like... I don't know what I'm doing with all the copper yet. I don't know. Even all of the copper that I ended up mining on Empires, most of it I just gave to other people. I didn't end up building as much with copper as I expected to in that series. Is it true you can make a potion farm in Bedrock using cauldrons and dripstone? I think they patched it. Like, it was possible to have water dripping into cauldrons refill a cauldron that was already filled with potions, but I think they patched that out. It was too OP. Cool underwater build would be great with the oxidized copper. Yeah, maybe. I feel like underwater stuff, you still got like the prismarine block palette, so it goes well with that, but I don't know. Any plans for a new Skyblock series? No, not for a while at least. I get burned out whenever I play Skyblock because it's just so grindy. I like being able to react to terrain when I build. And the problem with Skyblock is you have to build the terrain, so it takes like 5 times as long to have anything that looks good. Parishioner, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub. And Zygote, thank you for the Prime sub as well. Another brand new Prime sub. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Thank you, Ginger. Got to that before I did. Minecraft RTX, again, probably not for a while, if at all. I mean, a lot of that series was sponsored to begin with, but it's also just about doing stuff with Minecraft RTX that can't be done in just Java Minecraft, right? Like, I've got to have good ideas for stuff like that, and I don't. I'm also not that keen on starting a bunch of different vanilla series when I've got one that's going really well, because you just end up putting so much effort into every single series, you just kind of get sick of it after a while. But if I'm working on one world consistently for a while, then I feel like I can make good progress. Alright, he's still got 2 emeralds for glass. He hasn't refreshed yet. Yeah, I think they all need to go and actually work at their workstations. Be nice if Java had RTX. I mean, you can get ray tracing shaders. There are some path tracing shaders by Sonic Ether that are, I believe, still on like a Patreon paywall. But some people are making path tracing shaders, it's just how they distribute them. Technically, the shaders mod has the capacity to do stuff like that, it's just whether your graphics card can handle it. And on Java, obviously, they can't guarantee decent performance from it because Java performance is nowhere near Bedrock's level to begin with, so they can't really implement like an official support for RTX, because then they'd have to officially support the community-made shaders as well. Or if they didn't, it would seem like a spit in the face of the community, you know. One of the draws of being able to do it on Bedrock Edition was the fact that Bedrock Edition couldn't do anything like that before. Kelly just released a Java-based RTX pack. Nice. Yeah, Kelly's RTX is great. It's the one that I used for the RTX series more recently, and is a phenomenal pack. In terms of like the reflectivity of the blocks and stuff, the way they all react to the light, that's just what I picture in my head if I imagine Minecraft with more realistic looking textures and everything. I think they nailed it. This is a week of Nether for Survival Guide. It is not. Tomorrow's episode is about farming bees. And yes, you can farm bees in the Nether and they work around the clock, and it doesn't matter if it's like night or day or whatever, but you also have to load the dimension for that to be worthwhile, and I'm never in the Nether when I'm not just like going somewhere else, so I guarantee I'm going to get some comments about that because I didn't mention it in the episode. But yes, you can build a bee farm in the Nether, but you have to be AFK in the Nether for it to generate anything. Whereas I might just put mine at spawn and it'll be like the iron farm. It'll just always have stuff. Do I see a future where Java and Bedrock merge? Honestly, no, but I don't really know that much about like business strategy and how that weighs into decisions like that. So it could happen, but I doubt it. I think if anything, we're maybe going to have more stuff like Geyser servers where the two versions can be playing on the same server and there is enough parity to make that work. But honestly, there are so many differences that it seems like neither team is going to budge on when it comes to Bedrock and Java. Like the Nether Roof thing, right? Like I can be pretty confident that they're not going to remove the Nether Roof on Java Edition or add it to Bedrock Edition. Therefore, those two aspects of the different versions are always going to be separate. And you're not going to be able to do a thing where, like, the Java players can have control of the Nether Roof on the same platform as Bedrock players. And when it came down to it, like, I know several people who would just not end up playing Minecraft anymore if the only version of Minecraft they were allowed to play was Bedrock. Like, people would just they would clone Java Minecraft and keep playing it in whatever the final version of Java was. Why would they not add it? Because you're not supposed to be up there. Like, it goes against their design principles. Like, it is an area that players have historically exploited, but they are not supposed to have access to it. That's why the Bedrock is there. Like, Bedrock is meant to be an impenetrable barrier. It just happened to be a quirk of the way the Nether was coded, that it had the same height as the overworld, except they limited it with an artificial ceiling made of bedrock, and players found ways of getting on top of that. The number of farms that wouldn't work without the Nether Roof. Exactly, which is not why they're never going to remove it from Java. If they do, there will be public outcry of the type that only Minecraft players can muster. Yeah, the prices are just getting, like, inflated now, I think. Do you know why we can't build on the Nether roof in Bedrock Edition? Because when Bedrock Edition was coded, when the Nether was added to Bedrock Edition, they put in a hard limit in the same way that we have a build limit in the overworld. And they put it in where the Nether roof was because they didn't want people to get up to the Nether roof. The fact was it was just not possible to do that in Java Edition beforehand because of the way Java Edition was coded. Like, they made a point of doing that on Bedrock Edition, whereas it was easier to just put in a ceiling that players ostensibly couldn't get through in Java. And on Java, stuff like that, emergent gameplay is important to the community. It becomes an important factor of how we can have control over the game. Like iron farms. What's the most useful villager profession, in my opinion? It's difficult to say, because librarians give you mending books, which is, I think, probably the trump card of librarians. It's the one thing that, like, you can't really get reliably any other way than, I guess, like, fishing, but even that is more difficult with AFK fish farms being more difficult to make now. Do I hear zombie piglin farms in 1.19 will not give XP from angered mobs, only the ones that hit by the player? Yes, in which case you can modify your design to either include a player kill, which several people did as of 1.16, because there were rumors that 1.16 was going to introduce that mechanic, or you can do what they are planning as a replacement and make a skulk farm. What FPS do I get in Minecraft? Right now I have range between like 80 to 100. Like, it's capped at 150. Most of the time when I'm running around I get a decent amount. There's just a lot of villagers around. But I don't think anything has changed about Minecraft in the last couple of days that's going to cause it to be more laggy. I don't know. Maybe make sure your drivers are updated and stuff. Villager trade mechanics really need to be revisited. Why? Could be your shaders. Yeah, probably if you're running shaders, then, like, you can't guarantee what your FPS is going to be at that point. They're a bit OP. Are they, though? Gold farm works fine in 1.18. Yes, and it will continue to do so. I don't know about 1.19, though. Astra, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Brand new sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Will the Warden still be added? Yeah, in 1.19. That's the plan. They've been releasing a few, like, preview videos about the Warden, including some of the older concepts they had for it when they were still in the design phase, and it's really cool to see. OP at the expense of what? Exactly. Like, it's like saying mining is OP because you get loads of cobblestone from it. Like, it's... To what end? Oh my gosh, Astra gifting 5 subs as well. Thank you so much. So generous of you. Going for the triple-double. Subscribing and gifting some subs. You love to see it. I think for the amount of potential work you have to put into villagers and how easily they can die, it's still balanced. Yeah, I mean... I feel like... Ultimately, if you want to get all of these resources from villagers, there are a couple of trades that are a little bit more easily exploitable. But, like... I don't see why villager trading needs to be rebalanced. Because, like, what advantage is it giving you? Like, and if it's not making the game fun for you, you can not villager trade. What's up, Queen? Hope you're well. Thank you so much for coming in. It's like saying Fortune 3 is OP. Yeah, I mean, same thing. Like, if you want the game to be harder, I understand. But, like, it's a sandbox. Do you think the Warden will be like an Elder Guardian in terms of spawns, or will they respawn? Oh, they'll definitely respawn. Like, the whole thing, it comes out of the ground. If you can beat it before it, like, burrows back into the ground or whatever, then, like, I expect the Skulk will be able to spawn another one. Like, the idea, I think, of the Warden is it's more of, like, an entity than it is a mob in the same sense, right? Like, You're not going to kill one warden and then be able to control the entire Deep Dark. Would I buy a concept art book if Mojang released them with every major update? I would. I don't know if they... I don't know, obviously, how much concept art they generate and how many of those designs the artists would be okay with sharing in a concept art book, because, like, they clearly go through a lot of iterations. But I don't know if they would produce enough concept art for every update that it would make an entire book, you know? I don't know much about their process, so I could be, like, completely misinformed here, but I get the sense that if they wanted to make a proper book of it, they'd have to do it every, like, 5 years or so, maybe. I don't know how much goes through, like, a concept art phase before they go, alright, what does this look in Minecraft now? Are we getting glass for days? We have been, yeah. We're now basically all full on glass bottles in the honey farm that I made for tomorrow's episode, and we have a decent stockpile now. So mostly I'm just waiting for these villagers to drop their glass prices, because I've traded to the point where they're now asking 2 emeralds for 4 glass instead of 1. And not like emeralds are a problem, but it is kind of nice to get the most bang for your buck, as they say. See, this guy's still asking 2. This guy's back to normal. And then I just feed iron ingots to these guys. I've only got 3 librarians who trade me glass, and I've got 4 toolsmiths, or blacksmiths. But we've got 67 levels now, so we're almost there. Tend to think of the Warden a lot like the Borg from Star Trek. Resistance is futile, I guess. Reaching level 100 should be an achievement. It could be. It could easily be. Those lads are cheeky asking for 2 emeralds. They are, right? They're both forces you can't really assign malicious intent to. They're just doing what's in their nature. That's fair. Bottle Top Hornet, that's awesome to hear. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm glad you're liking Season 2. The dragon used to give 100 levels. I think if you start with 0 levels, the dragon gives you like 68 now. It gives you 12,000 XP, which is a lot. Black Steel gifting 2 subs as well. Thank you very much. Gifting those subs out to the community. How are you feeling about prices now? No, you're still up at 2. Fair enough. Make more sense for level 30 to be an advancement. I guess it would kind of steer you towards, like, enchanting, right? Somebody wrote in, or mentioned it in the Discord, that they'd been watching a series from a Japanese player who's been watching Minecraft, who's been playing Minecraft, sorry, without watching any other videos or, like, reading about it on the Minecraft wiki or anything like that, and has been trying to experience the game without, like, any other, like, input from anybody. And they've done several, they've gone to the end, they've beaten the dragon, like, they've followed some of the progression of the game, right? And there is this, which says enchant an item at an enchanting table. But since there isn't anything in the game that prompts you to put bookshelves around an enchanting setup, they still haven't done that. So they don't know that you can enchant stuff at level 30. And obviously you don't need to, because then you can start trading with villagers and get Unbreaking 3 from that and so forth. But it's kind of interesting as a concept to me that somebody wouldn't know to put books around an enchanting setup, because I knew that from watching other people's videos, but unless you're decorating an area and you happen to put books with an enchanting table because they, you know, the enchanting table has a book on it, you want to build like a library, it looks kind of similar. Like, without that, I can't think of any situations in which you'd think, oh yes, these two items are connected.
Well, that's just prime.
Roberto Keith, thank you for the Prime sub, and Nilena Aylin, I guess. Thank you so much for the 2 months. You're a Bedrock player, but the guide is absolutely the best. Well, thank you. I'm glad. If you're into it, if you want to watch a Bedrock guide, then I do recommend Blue Jay Games and Prowl 8413's Bedrock Survival Guide. They kind of do a similar thing to what I do, but specialized for Bedrock Edition, and they're both very good Bedrock players. Prowl does a lot more technical stuff as well, so don't let anybody tell you Bedrock isn't a technical game. I got the name right? Okay, good. Good. I'm glad. Used to just use oak wood for buildings. When I saw you building your house mixing birch and dark oak, started to like all kinds of wood. Yeah, like, it's... I build with oak wood so infrequently now because it just reminds me of, like, when I was new to Minecraft, and it feels like kind of day one Minecraft build. All you have is oak wood and cobblestone. Not having anything between the bookshelves and the enchanting table is a good thing to know. You used to have carpets in between. I was wondering what's going on. Yeah, like the fact that carpets are enough to block bookshelves from powering up an enchantment table is... Yeah, the mechanics in that area of the game are kind of fairly esoteric. It's all just community knowledge. Any Bedrock Twitch streamers I would recommend? I think Prowl streams as well, although I believe he streams on YouTube these days. Trying to think who else. I mean, Mr. Beardstone plays on Truly Bedrock a lot and plays Bedrock stuff. Liara, who's one of my mods, also plays on Bedrock Edition on the same server. Anybody from Truly Bedrock, I think most of them end up streaming on Twitch. Zloy XP, Liara, Silent Whisperer. I think most of them are on Twitch. There's a handful of other people on that server as well. Like, sorry that I'm not remembering all of their names, but check out the Truly Bedrock server when you can. We're going to probably put all of these back into block form and head home, because we're close to wrapping up today's stream. And much as I would like to play a couple of rounds of bingo, I think I'm probably going to call it early so I can start editing this bee farm episode. Because if we get into bingo now, like, one run won't be enough. You know how it is with bingo. The PS4 is Bedrock? Yes, PS4 is Bedrock Edition, I believe. There was a while when PS4 was kind of its own thing, but I think those days are over as of the Better Together update. Alright, we're good. Let's go. One round is enough, is it though? If I get one bad card, I'll be like, no, I can do better, and I'll do another run, and... PS4 is Bedrock since the Bees update, since like 1.15 for, well, I guess Java version numbers, and Bedrock only started lining up as of the Nether update, right? Can you get Java on Xbox? You cannot get Minecraft Java Edition on Xbox. I have to watch like how I say that, because like there are some Java applets and stuff that can run on other devices, but Minecraft Java Edition is not really available on anything other than a PC running Windows, Linux, or Mac OS. What was the name of the channel playing Minecraft without watching videos or getting outside help? I will have to look that up for you because I don't recall. Bottletop Hornet gifting 5 subs as well. Thank you so much. Very kind of you to do that. And folks in the chat who've been gifted a sub, make sure you thank these very generous sub gifters for their generosity. Have Java as well. It's very hard to get adjusted to. Yeah, the people who play Java and Bedrock Minecraft, I'm always impressed that they keep it straight in their heads, because I have no idea if I would be able to do that on a more regular basis. I always open that chest first, and then I remember that the glass is a chest up from that. There we go. So we've got a lot of glass now. That's actually really handy. We can do some fun stuff with this. And we need more glass to make tinted glass as well, so... New storage room required soon, probably, although I'm not certain if it's going to be here. Or if I go and build one somewhere else and do an episode about auto-sorted storage, but then it can be part of like a larger base project. Either way, this has been performing admirably, it looks like. Our little teams of bees in there doing their thing. And obviously the glass bottles are still working well, so that's good to know. Can probably pack this stuff away, including another bee nest. Stained bottles should be a thing. Why? I feel like it'd be fun to have them as, like, decorations, maybe, but I don't see them being all that valuable, unless they decided to do something with, like, making the potion colors a little bit more obvious, because this purple glow masks so much of the color of these different potions. It's one thing I would really like them to change in future, is the enchantment glow. But hey, for now it's not too bad. Let's leave all of these chests in here as well. I have so many chests. And we'll put this back in here with the other hives. I think those two still have bees in. The sheep from the wool farm episode is still there, being the guardian sheep. I'm planning on turning that into a Jeb sheep at some stage, but we have to do an episode about Easter eggs before I do that. We'll leave the unbreaking helmet in here. And I think we're all good. So this is where we're going to be wrapping up the stream for today and finding somebody to raid. My partner is currently streaming right now. Their stream is a little bit different from mine. They are not a family-friendly streamer. There is adult language. They are currently writing out Lord of the Rings by hand in notebooks with cool fountain pens and testing different inks and all kinds of stuff like that. So if you're interested in checking that out, that is at twitch.tv/celerymin. And I'm going to be raiding somebody else in the Minecraft community, just so we can keep things going here, if anyone's here to watch some Minecraft. Andy as Yoda raided us during the Clash of the Creators the other night, so let's return the favor. Andy is a creative builder by trade, and does a fantastic job here on Twitch, explaining a bunch of really interesting projects him and his build team are working on. They're currently working on a castle build, it looks like. Not sure if this is in 117 or 118, but I'm sure he's enjoying the new potential for build height in 118. So we're going to raid Andy today. Don't forget to use your Pixel Hype emotes in the hashtag PixelRaid to show some love for Andy. And check this guy out. He's a very, very talented builder. You might have heard of some of his stuff on YouTube as well. He does really good build tutorials for like getting people started in fun ways to build. The 5x5 method, the 7x7 method. Some stuff that he is known for. Alright, that's where we'll leave it for today, folks. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be back on Thursday with another stream for you. A bit more Minecraft from the Survival Guide world. Who knows where we'll be at that point. We'll have to see. Yeah, have yourselves a good week until then. And catch the episode about honeycomb and honey farms tomorrow on YouTube. Take care. My name's been Pixelriffs. I'll see you folks soon. Bye for now.